Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show tonight. Why doesn't Dana White want to book Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou? Anderson Silva going to the boxing ring, and Nate Diaz is back in the UFC. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm Dave. There's Freddie and AJ as well. Why is there a fake Fred in front of Fred? Get rid of fake Fred.
Oh,
Fred,
no.
there's like a fake Fred in front of him. Is Fred having technical difficulties? What's going on? What's up, everybody?
Rear naked choke, man.
There you go. Fake Fred has been removed.
Gone.
Hi, AJ. You're on the show. You're back. I've allowed you back. Against my better judgment yet again.
Thank you very much, David Simon. Where's
Don't worry about it.
Wasn't there a fourth screen?
Yeah, we're going to go with our buddy here as well. We've got Matt Casavant. Wait a second. That's too many.
Oh, center stage.
Where's everybody? Oh, now he's gone. Hold on. Oh, wait, that's not it. That's not it. I'm trying to get Matt. Hold on. There we go. There's Matt. Matt's back. Hey, Matt.
What kind of production team is this?
Shut up, AJ. You don't know how to work anything.
Second rate?
You don't know how to order anything. You don't know how to do anything. You are useless on a computer. You're like 100 years old. Don't start with me already, AJ.
I'll give you a boxing TKO and a rear naked choke that you're going to be seeing Disney World. So
Yeah, all right. Keep talking, old man. So, Matt Casavant is here to talk about boxing. He's here, and we are going to talk to Matt about everything going on in the wild world of boxing. Matt, I don't know where to start, man. Everything has gone so crazy in boxing. I want to start with the latest news. Anderson Silva is going to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in June. The date for this is June 19th. It's a catch weight at 180 pounds. Apparently, it's going to take place in Mexico. Now, the whole reporting around this, even Cesar Chavez Jr. seemed a little confused by whether or not the fight was going to take place and whether this was a real thing, but apparently it's happening. Anderson Silva's people seem caught off guard by it. Do you think that this is real? Is this a real fight that's going to happen on June 19th?
Well, first and foremost, Dave, let me say that I'm glad to be part of the show again, but I'm surprised you're actually leading with boxing. Really, that's surprising. And listen, I'm pretty happy, to be honest, that you are. There's going to be also, I'm sure, some interesting, when you get to the Jon Jones and Ngannou take, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about that a bit later. But to address the situation, boxing right now is in a weird situation because since the Mike Tyson Roy Jones exhibition, where of course you had infamously Jake Paul knock out Nate Robinson, it's become the floodgates have opened because what happened in this world, and this is not only just in boxing, but what you're seeing with the social media, TikTok, anything that people can copy something successful and try to do the same thing, this is what's happening to make a quick buck. And what we're seeing is a just floodgate of opening of exhibitions of people saying, you know what, fighting by nature is the most intriguing aspect of any sport. Think about to the days when you were in high school. If people were playing basketball, yeah, you got a few people watching, but you got people fighting and you hear fight, everybody storms, takes the cell phones out and want to see a fight. So now what they're doing is they're using the kind of knowledge of knowing what human beings like to see fighting, and they're escalating it into exhibitions that are out of control and are kind of taking away from the actual real important fights. And right now the Chavez Jr. Anderson Silva thing comes out of left field, but it's one of many that have been announced this week. From De La Hoya saying he's coming back, from Tyson saying he wants to fight Evander Holyfield again, from Miguel Cotto and Juan Manuel Marquez planning exhibitions. Because once you use the exhibition term, you don't have to have the rules by the commissions anymore. It's a free-for-all. You can do basically what it is, and you can make a quick buck. And Chavez Jr. Anderson Silva, if it does happen, I would much rather have seen Silva against Roy Jones if you're going to have an exhibition. Chavez Jr. is really a fighter that's well past his best days, never really was the type of fighter we expected. Canelo absolutely dominated him in a Mexico fight a few years ago in an all-Mexican showdown. So look, whether or not it happens is one thing, but it's just, to me, a travesty that we're seeing so many of these exhibitions happen and take away the attention from the legitimate fights.
Yeah, and I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. And it seems like fighting To me, fighting is the most entertaining thing you could do. I mean, forget about sports. I'm talking about all across sports, entertainment, whatever. I think fighting, if done right, the spectacle of a fight, a big fight, especially with big names, that's the most entertaining thing you can get. And, you know, boxing's figuring that out with getting some entertainers involved. You talk about Mike Tyson and Roy Jones and all that stuff going on. And now, of course, the Ben Askren-Jake Paul fight that everybody seems hyped about. But as far as Chavez Jr. versus Anderson, you say you'd rather see Anderson fight Roy Jones. I could see that being maybe a competitive fight that Anderson would not win. Chavez Jr., like, he's not that big. I don't really understand the size difference with Anderson. Like, Anderson's going to be much bigger than him. I don't see how Anderson can get down to 180 pounds. It's supposed to be a catch weight at 180. I don't know if Anderson can do it, but if he can, he seems like a much bigger man. And if Chavez Jr. is way past his prime, like you're saying, does Anderson at like 48 years old have a shot against this man?
I don't know enough about Anderson Silva's boxing ability. Like, when you look at his striking, I mean, Anderson was never really even known as the best striker just with his hands, I'm saying. He was a complete striker in other aspects, using, of course, his feet and all of his his repertoire of tools, but they're just strict, standalone boxing stance for Anderson Silva. I'm not entirely sure. In terms of the size difference, Chavez Jr. was relatively a big guy at all times and had a ton of, discipline issues to maintain the weight when he did fight at 160 pounds. When he did fight at 154, he missed weight routinely, gained 15, 20 pounds to rehydration, and was a light heavy by the time he entered the fights many times. So I would expect him to be actually not that much at a difference in size in Anderson Silva, but he's not going to have as, the weight is not going to be as healthy as Anderson Silva's weight. I think Anderson Silva is going to be in much better shape than Chavez Jr. if it does happen at the 180-pound limit. I don't know enough about Silva's boxing ability. Chavez Jr. has some ability, but he's always been more of a name than an actual fighter. He had some good, impressive fights. His claim to fame was the 12th round against Sergio Martinez way back in the day in a championship fight where Chavez Jr., with the pressure and the power, was able to stun Martinez, but ended up losing a decision. Look, I don't think he can do much against Anderson Silva, really. I'm not entirely sure, even if this fight doesn't have kind of this gentleman agreement that let's not embarrass each other, right? Because it's an exhibition, so theoretically knockouts aren't supposed to happen. I don't know entirely what would take place, but I do know this. Anderson Silva looked much more competitive in his last UFC bout or MMA bout than Chavez Jr. did in his last boxing bout. So that's all I can say about that. And I really have no idea where this came from, because to me, there's no animosity between these two men compared to Silva and Roy Jones that were rumored for years.
But Matt, if I'm not mistaken, these guys were supposed – sorry, go ahead, Fred.
Go, AJ. No, go, AJ.
No, I was going to simply say that the discussions between these two guys were to fight in light heavyweight. That's what I've been reading, and that's what I think they're focused on. And if you look at Wikipedia on the Chavez page, you're saying if this is going to happen or not. It's on Wikipedia for sure that this fight is supposed to take place in Mexico. But overall, but listen, man, you can laugh all you want, but the bottom of the line is it's there. So there's a fight to be made, exhibition or non-exhibition. And when you look at these two guys, you got one guy who's 35 years old, the other guy who's 45 years old. And let's not forget, Anderson Silva did have professional boxing prior to MMA. So it's not like he doesn't know boxing. He has the body built for boxing, but this fight's going to, like you said, take place at a heavier weight. And I believe it's going to be at the light heavyweight division. And you know what? You look at Chavez's record, I understand that he's probably not what people expected. But when you have a 52-5 record, I mean, the guy is still pretty up there, man, overall. Exhibition or not, I think it's going to be a good fight. And I don't think it's going to be just like a marshmallow fight at all. I think it's actually going to be very competitive.
I'm surprised that you guys give Anderson such a chance, because, I mean, this guy is like 10 years younger than Anderson Silva. Plus, it's his sport, even if he's not like the best boxer. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. But right now, you tell me there's a fight between those two. I'm going to go with the boxer, until... Yeah. It's his arena, man. I expect him to win, and he's 10 years younger. So I don't know. I'm surprised, but hey, I'll watch it.
But if Matt is telling us that he's an embarrassment and he's old, if Matt, you're telling us that that Chavez is kind of done, why not? Maybe Anderson does have a shot here.
Well, that's what I'm surprised, Dave. I'm surprised that you guys and Fred just said he wants to watch it. People will seem to have some interest. Like, to me, this, in terms of exhibitions, it ranks way below. I'm much more interested in seeing Jake Paul fight Ben Askren then I would be watching Chavez Jr. fight Anderson Silva. Now we're at it. Like, you're ranking exhibitions. Chavez Jr. Doesn't really have any much following in boxing right now. He's kind of burned his bridges by having underwhelming performances, from not taking the sport seriously, from basically living off his father's name, who was a true legend. I think I would rather see Chavez Sr. fight Anderson Silva than I'd rather see Chavez Jr. But Silva, for his boxing career, according to BoxRec, he's 1-1 in simply boxing matches, not in kickboxing matches. And he hasn't fought a professional boxing bout since 2005. So I don't know how much of his technique is going to have to be retooled. But clearly, this is a money grab. This is plain and simple. Like, it's a money thing. I don't know what the exact rules are going to be yet. But if Chavez Jr. ends up knocking out Anderson Silva, I want to ask you guys, the UFC experts, Anderson Silva looked at as one of the best fighters of all time in MMA. Will that stain his legacy if he loses or gets beaten up by Chavez Jr.?
Nah, he got beat by Jared Cannonier and Uriah Hall. Like, that stained his legacy enough.
Sport, man. I respect boxing. Like, I feel all these MMA guys that want to go into boxing don't really respect the sport of boxing. These guys, it's a different skill.
Not true.
So
that's Freddie. I disagree with you 1,000%.
Like,
I'm going to tell you why.
1,000%.
Arena, man.
You're wrong on that, because I'm going to tell you something. All these MMA guys are not just punching bags. They're going with boxing experts. They're going in boxing camps. They're boxing with guys. I know that because I see it, and I can tell you one thing. These guys know how to box. They're probably not world-clalas boxers, but they're training with world-class coaches.
Thank you. They're not world-class.
There's no guy in MMA.
Want to go against world-class.
But it doesn't matter. Listen, these guys are not at their prime.
Matter.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say Conor against Mayweather at his prime, but by disrespecting the boxing aspect out of MMA is a complete sham, because these guys can box anybody. They can go into any amateur ranks, maybe low-level professional fights, and they can do well. And we can see that time and time again, because MMA is a mix of martial arts, and boxing is the skill that you need, and you train with boxers from all camps. You name it. Even Logan Paul is training with Jean Pascal for his training camp. So go figure.
Jake Paul, not Logan.
Jake. Thank you.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
Yeah, Matt, you're telling me that you're more interested in the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight than the Anderson Silva versus Chavez Jr. fight? That surprises me quite a bit, because Chavez Jr., he may be a farce in boxing, but at least he's a boxer. Askren and Paul, is there a boxer among them?
Well, here's the thing, Dave. I think it's because the event itself that Triller is trying to do, and they have Teofimo Lopez, who's probably one of the better fighters pound for pound right now in the sport of boxing, fighting on the undercard. So the entire event to me is more appealing. They're trying to make a show. The Tyson Roy Jones pay-per-view with all the rap artists they have, it's really an event that makes sense. They have Snoop Dogg on commentary. Like, it's an entertaining spectacle. And I'd rather see Jake Paul finally fight somebody who actually, even though Ben Askren may be the worst striker in MMA that they could have picked, at least he's a fighter, and I'd rather see Jake Paul get knocked out, to be honest. Like, I hope it happens, but he does have some skill, but not to the extent of which he's bragging about. And this trash talking has gone to the levels of extreme that I really would like to see Ben Askren. And because once Jake Paul loses, it's going to start slowing down these YouTubers and these influencers who want to try to invade the sport. The appeal is only there until he loses. But if he wins against Ben Askren, then that's for sure.
There'll be somebody new to take his place.
Yeah.
Like I keep saying, I think the biggest fight would be like you get The Rock to fight somebody, Vin Diesel or whatever, that sells like 5 million pay-per-views. People like those freak shows. There'll be another one. Yeah, once Jake Paul loses, his following in boxing will take a hit, but there'll be somebody else. There'll be another freak show. I'm down with all these freak shows.
I think Fred might be right. I think the freak shows are going to come. You know, when Justin Bieber called out Tom Cruise for an MMA fight, everybody was down. Everybody's like, yeah, I'll pay to see that. And that's what I'm talking about. Fight sports is the biggest entertainment there is. It's the best. It's the brightest. It's like, goddamn, you could have Tom Cruise in a movie and Justin Bieber doing a concert. That's one thing, and some people will watch. But if you had Tom Cruise fighting Justin Bieber in an octagon, everybody and their mama is going to watch that shit. You know? Everybody in the world would watch that shit. Right? I didn't see the last Mission Impossible. Right? Huh? Say it again, Matt.
I was going to say, at a certain point, though, it becomes a problem for the legitimacy of the sport, where I understand they want to fight and create that sport, and sometimes it can be well done, and I understand they're trying to make money, but I think it's gone to a point where we're going to lose control real quickly of this, where some of the significant fights, only the hardcore followers and people who really follow the art of the sport, but the casual people, the casual fans are going to go towards these events, these circus events, much more than they're going to go to the legitimate fights. And I think that's unfortunate. Like, I'm fine with it maybe happening, but most of the time, whether it was Chris Brown was supposed to fight, there's a few rappers were supposed to fight, and it always ends up not happening.
Yeah.
Now, if it ends up, there isn't like the Nick Carter's brother supposed to fight somebody also in boxing. I think
Aaron Carter, that guy is a joke. That guy is crazy. I heard that guy say he trains 10 hours a day, and I'm like, no, you don't, you stupid fuck.
This is what's happening. Like, they're making a mockery of people who've been training for years and are really, blood, sweat, and tears into the sport, and they're barely able to get money enough, wages and salaries to live off the sport. And I'm okay with events, a few events here and there, well placed. But if it's just going to become, everybody, let's just box, because nobody can really see the difference between an actual talented fighter and people who can just throw bombs and look in shape, to me, it's a problem.
Yeah. But like you said, those guys are going to get exposed, right? Those guys are going to get exposed. And if Ben Askren is the guy to expose them, great. If he's not, it'll be the next guy or the guy after that. The thing is with these Paul brothers and whoever, they're not just going after other celebrities who also can't fight. Now they're going after real fighters who can fight, who have dedicated their lives. Ben Askren is no boxer. He is an Olympic-level wrestler. He is an MMA world champion. He's a very legitimate combat sports athlete. But at this point in the game, after being retired from the UFC, nobody is paying Ben Askren to fight. And right now, he's getting one of the biggest paydays of his life to fight a fucking YouTuber. It's the most money for the least amount of work. Like, this could be the easiest fight of his life, and he's probably going to get paid one of the biggest checks he's ever made. So I see your point. It's like, yes, this is distracting from real fighting, and the fans, that don't really understand the difference, they're getting hoodwinked by this whole thing. They're getting confused. But at the same time, it might lead to one of these real fighters like Ben Askren, who's not going to get a payday, to get paid to beat up one of these jerks, and then we can all laugh at the jerks. The problem is, Ben Askren has been knocked out before in the UFC. He isn't a great striker, and it's possible that he loses this boxing match, which I think everybody is rooting against right now. I think everybody wants Ben Askren to whoop Jake Paul's ass.
Freak show.
Let's be honest.
Can you be honest? Can you do that?
I'm going to tell you, Matt. I'm going to tell you something. You are absolutely right, because these two guys on the top panel probably don't understand boxing. And I'm going to tell you something. What they don't understand is this. I understand freak shows. And I'm going to tell you, freak shows are great, but they're not great for the integrity of the sport, being it for boxing, being it for wrestling, being it for MMA. And I'm telling you something, one of these guys, I could go in the ring myself, I'll knock out that Jake Paul and Logan Paul, I can assure you that. And what I'm trying to get at is that I would definitely knock him out.
I don't know if you would.
I would make it a mission to knock him out. And the reason why is this.
I think they'd smack you around.
Logan Paul,
they'd smash you.
And I'm going to tell you, sure they would. And I'm going to tell you why.
Look how mad he is when I say that. He gets so mad. They'd smash you, AJ. You have no chance.
That's what you got to tell me when I'm in the ring.
So
you got to be in my corner and tell me that, because I'm going to bite his ear off like Tyson did to Holyfield.
Yeah, because he was losing the fight. He got frustrated.
If I'm losing, I'm taking off a limb. But I'm telling you something, is that guys in the boxing gyms that are at amateur ranks coming up the sport, that are busting their ass 7 days a week, hours upon hours of going through training camps and getting knocked out and being like the punching bags for guys that are up and above skills. These guys come up the rank and they don't even get maybe like $1,000 at the end of the year from trying to bust their ass. And here's this guy coming and it's a freak show. People like freak shows, but you're right. If these freak shows continue, which bring in a lot of money, they're going to take away from the legitimacy of the sport. And it will take away from the UFC too, because if Ben Askren loses, every couch potato master is going to come out and say, I could take him. I could take out George St. Pierre. I could take out Khabib. You know what I mean? Because these guys are
how does that make
athletes.
The UFC lose?
They don't know how to street fight.
Yeah.
Because Ben Askren is a face to MMA.
How does that make the UFC lose?
Because he was in the UFC, because he was in Bellator, whatever, in one championship Invicta. It doesn't matter where you are. It's going to stain the sport. And be honest, I can assure you Ben Askren is not going to lose. You know why? Because a fighter is a very different animal. A fighter knows, and I said it this many times on the show, he's expected to be knocked out. He knows what it feels to be knocked out. They've been knocked out. And that's the difference between a competition. They go in there and they know the dangers of the sport because they know what it is to fight against a high-level athlete. The Logan brothers, listen, man, they're
Paul
training
brothers.
really well. And
Only one of them's
the
named
Paul
Logan.
brothers, whatever, the Paul brothers, regardless of the matter, I give them credit for at least
It doesn't matter.
they're training really, really hard. But get any of these guys to go into any boxing gym at an amateur level and fight with any guys in the gym, they will get knocked out.
You're
They
not
will
fair.
be smoked out.
You're
Not
not
according-
fair, AJ. He's training with Jean Pascal.
Yeah, and Mike Perry
Who
says
gives a
he's
shit?
looking really
Train
good.
like-
Jean Pascal is
Jean-Pascal-
impressed.
Jean Pascal
I mean,
wants
he's
to make
putting
money.
in
He's not
his work,
stupid.
man. You're just hating there.
Yeah, you're hating
Listen,
AJ
no,
because
no.
you know he'd
Listen,
whoop your ass in
I
a
can
fight
hate them.
and on YouTube. Double.
And I'll
Beat
say
you.
one thing.
Well,
I said before.
let's do it, man.
I think Nate Robinson is probably just as good an athlete, if not better, than Ben Askren. And boxing is not
What?
Ben Askren's sport,
Come
so I'm not
Oh,
like.
but
Ben
Nate
Askren-
Robinson.
No, you're wrong.
Nate Robinson
you're wrong.
isn't used to getting punched in the face. That's something you got to get used
Exactly.
to. And Ben
There's
Askren,
a
like
competition.
Ben Askren is an MMA fighter. Like he did have to train striking. Nate Robinson was dribbling basketballs. Like, come on now. I don't know. Matt, what do you
He's a
think? What's your
5'9"
prediction?
dunk champion, man.
What's your prediction
Yeah,
for
and
that
I'll say
fight?
this. I'm happy that I've seen Ben Askren go to the wildcard gym this week with Freddie Roach. He had Gabriel Rosado, who's an excellent contender and former champion as well, who was training him. So he's taking this seriously. And there's a big difference between, like you mentioned, Dave, being an athlete. But being an athlete is not going to cross over into the sport of fighting. In fact, so many times people get impressed by physiques, and you can always see fighters. Some of them, of course, have great physiques and also great skills. But you don't need to be the most physically imposing fighter inside the ring to be the best technical fighter, to draw power. We've seen it before with fighters even like Kelly Pavlik, Antonio Margarito, Sergey Kovalev. They don't have the most impressive physique. They knock people out. They're great fighters technically. It can happen. And I think really I'm torn between what I'm hearing from people who say Jake Paul is taking this seriously, including Jean Pascal, and has enough power and technical ability to possibly knock out the worst striker in MMA, Ben Askren. But I really think, like Daniel Cormier has been saying, and DC saying he's got to win it for the culture, he's got to win it for the MMA culture, for boxing culture, for fighting culture. I really think Ben Askren found a way to win a decision. But I'm going to be concerned in the first 3 rounds if he eats a big punch from Jake Paul, because Paul probably has a bit more power than Ben Askren does.
If Jake Paul knocks out Ben Askren, I will lose my mind. Like, that's crazy. Jake Paul should not be
You guys are
knocking
putting
out a
too much
guy
pressure on
who
Askren.
fought in the UFC. Like, that is the craziest thing ever. And if he does it, like, good on him, man. Holy shit. I cannot imagine that this guy, who we saw in that Nate Robinson was the fellow's name. Jake Paul looked like shit in that fight. He did not look like a good fighter, right? His footwork was horrible. I've seen boxing, and AJ, I know he's going to say, oh, Dave doesn't know shit about boxing, but AJ's a little angry
I'm
at
not
me
saying-
these days.
I'm not
okay,
saying-
AJ, take it
No,
easy.
no.
So Jake Paul, he looked like shit. I've seen boxing, right? I've watched Floyd Mayweather. I've seen boxing. Jake Paul is no motherfucking boxer. That
Listen,
guy
Conor
is
McGregor
garbage.
was a much better boxer
Oh,
than Jake
yeah.
Paul.
Of course. That's why when Jake Paul's like, oh, I'll fight McGregor in a boxing ring, I'm like, yeah, fucking do it. I fucking dare you. You'll get smashed. Conor would kill that man. Kill him. Like, I don't care how much you train.
Diaz.
Yeah, let him fight
Look,
any
he
of
called
these
out
guys
Diaz.
that actually have a knockout on their record. Like, actually,
right.
a standing knockout in MMA. Let him fight anybody that's done that in their lives and see what happens to his little Disney face. Like, come on now. This is ridiculous. And the problem is, there are people out there, these little kids on TikTok and shit, that believe this guy is a real fighter. There's a bunch of people out there that have no fucking concept. And
Not just a
hopefully,
bunch, Dave.
hopefully, on April 17th, reality will smack them in the face, and Ben Askren will get his first standing knockout of his professional boxing career and knock the shit out of Jake Paul. Like, I just want to see him. I don't even want to see him hurt. I just want to see him. I want to see him quit. I want to see him mentally break, and that can happen in a decision, and that can happen when you're fighting against a guy who's actually a fighter. I want to see the look in Jake Paul's eyes when he mentally breaks. I hope Askren can push a pace on him that he cannot handle. And Jake Paul, he looks all right, looks like he's in shape, but is he really in shape? How deep is his cardio? What kind of pace can he really push? Because I think Askren, if he starts pushing a pace on him, Olympic-level athletes, It's a different type of cardio. It's a different type of athlete. And Ben Askren is that type of guy. So push the cardio, push the pace, push the athleticism on Jake Paul, because as awkward and, as kind of loafy as Ben Askren looks, he is a much better athlete than Jake Paul, 100%.
Well,
I have no doubt in my mind he's a million times better athlete than Jake Paul. Jake Paul, on his best day, could never go to the Olympics for anything. So get the fuck out of here, Come on.
You want to boxing thoughts, Dave, here while you have me on before you get to the sport to talk there, and then Nottingham Road John Jones. So I guess what I'll tell you is this. If you're really looking forward to some big boxing fights, if Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury can finally get agreed upon on where the destination for that fight would be in front of 100,000 people, if, pandemic permitting, or if they're going to go into the Middle East somewhere, that's the fight where it's going to draw attention and money, and it's a legitimate main attraction. I mean, that's the fight I think everybody wants to see in the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division has been much better the last 5-6 years or so, ever since Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko have kind of retired and let the new era fighters. And we had some great fights between whether it was Anthony Joshua with the upset loss to Andy Ruiz. He avenges that. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, those two fights, and Fury winning convincingly in the rematch. That's the fight people want to see. I think it won't happen until, if it does happen, late summer, early fall. And then Manny Pacquiao possibly coming back to fight Terrence Crawford this summer. Crawford, the best fighter in 147 pounds right now, one of the better fighters pound for pound. A heck of a risk for a veteran Pacquiao, who still looks impressive in his last outing, but that's already been 2 years ago. So those are the two big fights I think we could see in boxing that give me hope. But we're still seeing recurringly fighters avoiding to fight the best, and it's really a shame. And we're seeing spotlight being stolen by exhibition for a lot of fighters willing to make money. But the fight I want to see, hopefully De La Hoya fights somebody from the MMA world. If he makes a comeback, that's something I want to see.
Give him Dana White. Give him Dana White. That's the fight I want to see.
Dana's not going to do it. Dana's smart. He's not going to go into the ring against De La Hoya.
He shouldn't, but I would be fun to see. Or just Dana send Ngannou after him. Be like, yeah, okay, you want to fight one of my guys? Here's Francis Ngannou. Good luck with that shit, Oscar. Have fun, buddy. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? It's all exhibitions, right? Nothing matters. It's all a big joke. CAZ, and check out his cool YouTube channel, Matt Casavant. That's what I'm promoting for you, Matt. Check out his show. I appreciate that. Call in Russ Amber, which I think is very cool. He talks to Russ Amber, who is a brilliant boxing coach, trainer, mind in the sport of boxing, and Matt has a YouTube channel. You could go check it out. Matt Casavant, search Talking to Russ Amber, Anber. I think Russ is a brilliant guy, dedicated his life to combat sports. I don't think he likes me or MMA too much, but I like Russ, so that's.
Well, I'm getting him. I'm trying to teach him that you got to evolve, and he's still stuck sometimes in the old mentality of not respecting the other facets of combat sports. But he's turning around, and we're seeing also guys. Michael Chandler was somebody who, for Rival Boxing, the company I worked for, he was somebody who supported and you train in boxing. I try to tell him all the time. MMA fighters wear boxing gloves as well. They buy boxing equipment and they respect the sport and that skill. He's opening his mind a little bit more as we go along here.
All right. Well, maybe he could give me a boxing lesson. I could give him like a jiu-jitsu lesson, or we could do like a meeting of the minds, and we could put it on YouTube and make a lot of money. Right? Let's do that. All right.
We'll try and schedule one day.
All right. Well, when we all get vaccinated, we'll do it, and we'll meet up, and we'll have a good time. Matt Casavant, thank you for joining us, man. We'll talk to you again real soon. And hey, it's always great, man.
All the best, gentlemen.
Thanks, Matt.
There he is.
Take care, guys.
Matt Casavant, our boxing expert, breaking it all down. And, of course, AJ says we need a boxing expert because Freddie and I don't know anything. AJ likes to just disparage us and dismiss us on the show. That's good, AJ. AJ likes to tear us down. I try to bring all of us up because we're supposed to be all on the same team while working together. But AJ, he wants to battle. He wants to be the best and the smartest on the show, even though it's a constant struggle for him.
I never said that.
Okay.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm
just saying,
I'll challenge both you guys to an IQ test to prove that I'm the smartest, but yeah.
that you'll probably win for sure. But listen, you know what? I thought you were going to ask.
Just because you have glasses, Fred, doesn't make you the smartest.
Dave, I thought you were going to ask.
Here it goes, AJ.
No, I
What?
thought you were gonna ask Matt what Russ Amber thinks about this whole like Jake Paul and Logan Paul fights and whatnot. Like, what does he think about it? Like,
Go
obviously
listen
he's
to his
old
show,
school.
man.
Why don't you go listen to his show,
Yeah.
or why don't you ask Russ Amber? Like, I'm not here to ask Matt about what another guy thinks about something. I'm here to ask Matt about what
would've
he
liked to
thinks
hear.
about something. Yeah, well, why don't you fucking ask him that next time? Huh?
No, I'm gonna call into Russ Amber's show and I'm gonna ask him. That's what I'm gonna do.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you, my friend. All right,
But
so Dana White
anyway.
does not want Jon Jones to fight Francis Ngannou. That is the most baffling thing that I have seen in a long time. It seemed like a done deal. We were talking about it after the fight. I mean, I know AJ was not into the idea for some reason. We said, AJ, who should Ngannou fight next? He said, oh, I don't know, but just not Jon Jones. Well, who should he be next? Oh, I don't know. How about Cyril Gane? Well, Cyril Gane's kind of unproven at heavyweight. Anybody else? No, just Jon Jones doesn't deserve it. So AJ didn't really have an answer. And I had an answer, and that was Dana White's answer as well. All right, AJ, take it easy. What?
No,
What'd
I
you
said
say?
the trilogy. I said I'd like to see the fight with Stipe again.
It's not happening.
That trilogy.
It's
That's
not
what I like
happening.
this.
Stipe would lose.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Stipe would lose. It's not happening. So Jon Jones seemed like the fight. Freddie and I said, yeah. And everybody in the world figured Jon Jones was next because I'm pretty sure Dana had said it in the past. Like, yeah, the winner of Francis and Stipe will fight Jon Jones for the heavyweight title. Jon Jones gave up the light heavyweight title. He's undefeated. He's looked at as one of the greatest fighters of all time. For several years, people have been waiting for him to move up and fight at heavyweight. He finally gives up the light heavyweight championship, right? Everybody assumed, okay, giving up the light heavyweight title, moving up to heavyweight, he's putting on weight. Everybody figures he's going to be next for the heavyweight championship, right? However, Dana White has other plans. It seemed slam dunk. Jon Jones versus the winner of Francis and Stipe. Jon Jones moving up to heavyweight, dropped the light heavyweight title. He's next. However, this is what Dana White said after the fight on Saturday night.
If I'm Jon Jones and I'm home watching this fight, I start moving to 85.
You think that's a fight that you'd like to put together next? I mean, I know we don't matchmake, but that sure does seem exciting.
Listen, I can sit here all day and tell you, what show me the money mean? I tell you guys this all the time. If you can say you want to fight somebody, but do you really want to?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jon Jones tweeted out, show
Dana's
me the
so
money.
disrespectful.
And Dana is so disrespectful. Like, to me, as a promoter, right, as a promoter of a fight promotion, you have one of the greatest fighters of all time. You have your new champion, this knockout artist. Jon Jones, greatest ever, one of your biggest pay-per-view draws, is moving up to heavyweight to fight for the heavyweight championship. He wants to fight Francis Ngannou. He's not scared. He's not going to move down to 185 pounds to fight your fucking golden boy, Israel Adesanya, who apparently will fight for peanuts because Jon Jones wants to get paid, right? And Dana White says Dana White was ready at the post-fight press conference to tell you, nah, Jon Jones should move down to 185. Jon Jones says, show me the money, Dana. What do you say? This is what Dana said. I can't believe he said this shit. First question about Jon Jones, Dana White.
If I'm Jon Jones and I'm home watching this fight, I start moving to 85.
He's fucking joking for laughs in the fucking press conference, and those fucking people are laughing. Who the fuck is laughing? You better be a UFC employee and you're only laughing because Dana White is fucking paying you. Because if you're a member of the media and you're fucking laughing, you should be embarrassed because Dana White is fucking embarrassing the sport by not putting the fight that needs to be put together. He's not putting this shit together because he's not paying Jon Jones the fucking money. Let's hear more from Dana White's disrespectful ass on Jon Jones, and then I'll let AJ be disrespectful too to Jon Jones, as he always is, because he's a Jon Jones hater.
Sounds serious. That sounds serious then, John.
So Jon tweeted out, I didn't gain all this weight to drop down 185 pounds. So here's Dana's response in the press conference.
Sounds serious. That sounds serious then, John. Call Hunter right now.
UFC matchmaker.
Is that
We
the
can
fight?
make that fight tonight, John. Call Hunter right now.
No, you can't. You're not going to pay him.
That's the fight to make.
Dana's bullshitting. We can make that fight tonight. You're bullshitting, Dana.
Would you say
What's that?
Jones and Ngannou is the fight to make, right?
Well,
Yeah, it is the fight to make, except Dana's cheap ass won't give it to him.
Derek Lewis is the fight to make. But if John Jones really wants that fight, listen, it's one thing to go out and tweet and say you want it and I put on the weight and I did this and that. Do you want the fight? I promise you, we can call Derek Lewis or one of these other heavyweights and they want the fight. If John Jones really wants the fight, John Jones knows he can get the fight. All he's got to do is call and do it. Like I said, it's easy to say you want the fight, but if you really want the fight,
You'll do it for whatever the fuck we'll give you.
Francis Ngannou is the heavyweight champion of the world right now. All he's got to do is pick up the phone and call Hunter, and we can get the deal done.
No, nobody has the balls to ask the right question. The question is,
'Cause
Dana,
the right-
how much are you
the
willing
right-
to pay John Jones for this fight?
Yeah, exactly. The right question is, are you willing to renegotiate the terms? Because John Jones has a contract right now, which he gets pay-per-view points and all that. John Jones wants more. So the real question is, are you willing to renegotiate the terms for John Jones' next fight? And I think the clear answer to that is probably no. Like I said, I want John Jones to be the next guy that fights, but I wouldn't be surprised that Dana plays tough and ends up saying John Jones doesn't want to fight and gives it to Derek Lewis or whatever. But the real question here is, come on, renegotiate, man. You did it for Conor. Conor ended up getting what he wanted. This is a mega fight between Ngannou and John Jones, man. Let's make it happen.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And Hunter is a UFC employee that kind of negotiates things. That's who Dana was talking about. Angelo was asking, call Hunter.
But he was asking 10 to 12 million. That was what I think was the rumor mill, and Jones was like, no way, man, no way. And then Dana got back and says, he wants like Tyson Fury money, Anthony Joshua money, 20, 30 million for the fight. And you know what? And I agree with what Freddie says. If you want to make money, increase the pay-per-view points. Because if the pay-per-view points are going to be a blockbuster, which I think it will be, I think it will be a high-paying event, then it makes sense. You'll hit that 15, maybe $20 million. But last week I wanted to see the rematch with Stipe. But the truth is, the real money fight is Ngannou hitting Jones. If they don't negotiate, and there's no way that John Jones went up to heavyweight, putting all that weight to go back into light heavyweight. There's no way. This is the time to make it. And you know what? I was listening to a lot of different shows, and something that came up a lot was this. Every time there's a fight that could be a potential, everybody wants to see it fight, it never happens. It never happened. You look at Khabib versus Ferguson, never happened. George versus Ferguson, it never happened. Brock Lesnar against Cormier, it never happened. Things don't pan out when it's like these big name fights. And if you look at history in the UFC, this fight probably will never happen, which is a shame, because if it doesn't happen now, John Jones is 40 years old, man. Time is ticking.
He's not 40 years old.
Well, how old is he?
He's like 35? 33. He's 33.
Is he? Oh, yeah, sorry.
He's like 40 years old. He's 33. AJ is such a liar when it comes to age, and we'll show that a little bit later. A clip from last night's show where AJ was exposed for being a liar. Once again, lying to his friends and family. Don't worry, AJ. We'll show the clip. John Jones is 33 years of age, and he should be fighting for the heavyweight title next.
Sorry, he's younger than Ngannou. You're right.
Yeah, he's younger than you too, younger than me.
I was thinking of Ngannou by the time this. Okay.
I think the better example that AJ should have brought out is Khabib and George St. Pierre, when at the beginning they were talking about that, there was a chance this fight could materialize, but Dana never caved in, and it might be a similar situation for this big fight where John Jones wants a bigger piece of the pie, and Dana, he'll never cave in on that. So,
well, did Dana cave in to Nate Diaz? That's my question, because I want to bring the Nate Diaz situation into this, because Nate Diaz is fighting Leon Edwards May 15th, UFC 262, in a co-main event that's going to be 5 rounds. For the first time ever, a co-main event being scheduled for 5 rounds with no title on the line. Kind of weird, but it's official. The UFC made it official a couple days ago. And here's Nate Diaz on his Twitter yesterday. He says, 40 mil is too low. When I fight, I am getting PAID paid. Don't come at me with prelim figures. 40 mil is too low. And now I'm going to give you another example of what people are saying for Jon Jones. Here's Jon Jones. This guy's saying, Derek Lewis said he would do it for $8 million. Jones goes, I'm sure he would. Let him. Derek also doesn't have 15 world championships on his resume. Their last fight was one of the most boring heavyweight fights in recent history. Completely different situation. Yup. Jon Jones' whole career. Jon Jones' whole goddamn career. We've said, can anybody beat this guy? Can anybody take him? He's undefeated. He's unstoppable. He's finally moving up to heavyweight to get some real challenges, and Dana White won't show him the motherfucking money? Come on, man. What the fuck? We've been waiting how long for this shit? Yeah, of course it's going to happen. After Francis and Derek stink the joint out, and Derek Lewis wins a unanimous decision to become the new heavyweight champion of the world when he outpoints barely Francis Ngannou because both guys are too fucking aware of each other's power and won't go near each other and won't fucking touch each other. I saw their last fight. It was one of the worst fights ever. And Dana White's big idea after Francis has this big fucking win over Stipe, his big plan as a promoter is to say, fuck you, Jon Jones. I'm going to do that boring shit again. What kind of promoter is he? Fire Dana White. If I were the fucking UFC owners, I would fire Dana for being a shitty-ass promoter. You shit on your greatest fighter, one of your biggest fucking pay-per-view draws, and you fucking give us Derek Lewis against Ngannou again. That's the worst fight ever.
Conor McGregor is that.
Conor McGregor is what? The promoter of the UFC? He's one of the biggest pay-per-view draws, you fuck. I said one of, not the biggest. Yeah, I know.
Okay, but yeah, I know, but that's... But listen, look, and you can say all you want about Dana, but Dana, what he does is he draws controversy. He likes to say what you don't want to hear.
He's supposed to book fights. He's got one job.
Listen, man, let him. Listen, he wants people like us to talk about this shit and get upset about this shit.
No, he doesn't.
And like get the fire burning, and then he's. Listen, if there's any fight that might happen
about his promotion,
he wants people to get mad, man. He wants people to get mad. He thrives on that. He thrives on that. Everything.
No,
that
he doesn't. He wants to make the most money off his fucking... You think he wants to piss people off? Oh, he's just doing this to make you mad. That's the most ridiculous fucking argument ever. Dana White is doing this because he's trying to make money for the UFC, and he wants to fucking lowball his main eventers so they can take in all the pie in the fucking pay-per-view. He wants to make all the money on his shows and lowball his fighters. That's what Dana White's doing, lowballing his fighters. Not pissing people off on purpose.
Dick, come on, let's be honest. Dana's a little bit of a dick, and,
and
he likes making people mad.
Jon Jones, he likes pissing Jon Jones off, but it's not us. He doesn't give a shit about AJ.
He considers the fans like trolls. You know, he thinks we're trolls.
And that's it. And that's what he wants, because the more people get pissed off, the more shows like ourselves are talking about it, and it's streaming, and people are in chat rooms calling Dana dick and this and that, and eventually, when you least expect it, boom. That fight's going to happen. And you know what? He's going to charge it. Right now,
what if it doesn't? What if it's Derek Lewis?
262. I doubt it's going to be Derek Lewis. Honestly speaking, Derek Lewis.
I'd rather have the Stipe.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to be Derek Lewis.
That'll make more money.
It's going to be Derek Lewis, guys.
Derek Lewis is not going to happen.
That's what AJ.
Derek Lewis is not getting $8 million. Like, he says he'll do it for $8 million, but they're not giving Derek Lewis $8 million.
They're not
They'll
giving
probably give him maybe $1 million if he's lucky. Derek Lewis is going to get that next shot against Francis Ngannou. Guaranteed. Bet.
No, come on, Dave. I don't think that's going to happen.
Did you hear
I think
Dana
it will
White?
Happen at some point. Dana White lies all the time, dude. You know that, and I know that. Everybody knows that. Dana says, and then Dana changes, man. He's like the weather in Montreal, man. You never know. He's going to go left and right.
He lies all the time, just like AJ. Right?
I don't lie all the time.
Changes the truth all the time. Always changing.
Yeah, right.
All right. Should we get to it? I can play a clip if you want. Here's a clip from
I've
last
heard.
night's show. Here's a clip of last night's show.
I can't wait.
AJ lying about his age. This is from our Dynamite show last night. Here's Glenn McKenzie, good friend of AJ's, known him for years. And here is Glenn talking about AJ being older than he thought. There are always shows like that. All right, I don't know these shows. I wasn't born back then. I'm not that old. We need AJ to come on to be our resident old guy to tell us what
I'm older than
goes on.
AJ.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm 45. Yeah,
you don't
for
know
sure
how,
I'm older than him.
You don't know how old AJ is.
No, how old is he?
He's several years older than you.
No, is he pushing 50?
He's in his 50s.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
Really?
see, this is the great thing about AJ. He lies to everybody about his age for years. For years. I thought AJ was 43 until I realized, wait a second, he's been 43 the whole time I knew him. I never, like, he'd had birthdays and stuff, and he'd always tell me he's 43, and I never questioned it. I was just like, oh, yeah, 43, sure, whatever. I don't care how old you are. And then I was like, wait a second. And then his girlfriend's like, hey, I want to invite you to his 50th birthday party. And I was like, 50? He's 50? I didn't know he was 50. And then Fred and I had this big conference call. We're like, do you believe AJ's 50? He's like, yeah, I thought he was 43. Crazy.
That makes sense, though.
He lies to
I can tell
everybody.
you, that makes sense because we had a tournament a long time ago in Boston, and obviously we were on different teams. But like, I think I was doing Masters 2, which was like 35 to 40. So I had about 4 fights to gold. You know what I mean? So I had a decent division. He had one fight.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't make any sense because we're kind of in this. He was I think he's a little heavier than me. I have no idea. But anyways, I was like, why does he only have one fight? So he must have been in Masters 4 or 5 at that time. It makes sense. And the guy he beat looked old as fuck.
Was that where he won a world championship?
Come on now. No. Well, he won a gold medal. He beat He beat the Alzheimer's division or whatever you want to call it. But there you go. I mean, hey, more power to him. I mean, good for.
There you go. AJ, you have some explaining to do to us. Explain yourself. What happened?
First of all, he's absolutely wrong because I'm only 44. But the thing is
no,
like,
you're not. Oh, God.
It's all right, Glenn. It's all right.
What happened in that
That was a good
tournament?
one.
Have you won a world championship, or are you just making things up? Do you
Well,
lie to
gold
me and
medal-
Fred?
well, it is. Why would I? Why would that? Not
So you
be-
won a
that's-
gold
those are
medal by
world
beating
level-
one old man.
Yeah, one. Well,
That's
I
what
think
Glenn said.
Is on crack.
Well, I don't know. I did see a picture
Glenn-
of you on a podium, and usually podiums have 3 people on them, but it was just you and another guy. So I figured it was a
That
2-man
happens,
tournament.
man.
Yeah, no. There
Well,
was,
it happens, and
there was
AJ
one
did
fight,
win.
but it-
At least you didn't lose to the old man. I'm just saying, AJ.
No. That was,
Glenn
that was
seems to
the
be
absolute
exposing you
division.
on the
That
show.
was- Glenn can say whatever he wants. I train at BTT. If he has anything, he come to BTT, which is a home of the champions. We don't have to say anything further.
Glenn's
it's a
a
real
bl-
gym.
Glenn's a
But
black belt.
the thing,
And he owns the gym, too.
yeah,
so
so what? But you know what? The beautiful thing about it is that eventually, when I get my black, Glenn will be around a certain age, so we can we can go at it.
AJ, you realize...
because when you're at a certain age,
Yeah, AJ, you realize as
but-
other
but-
people
no,
age,
because
you
it's not
also
like-
have to age, right?
yeah,
Like you're
but
not
there's
going
a
to be
certain point where
51 for
masters.
5 years.
But like the
He's gonna
Masters
try.
division, I'm not sure how it works, but there's a certain point where it's either 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know where the hell it is, but you could be fighting. You could be, let's say, 50, and you could be fighting like a guy who's 70 years old. You know, and look, all
I
these
don't
guys that
hate
are
on
black
you.
Is that what
belts
happened?
eventually are going to get over
understand
50. Yeah.
AJ, you fought a
What's that?
70-year-old man?
No,
When you're
come on,
50?
listen, that's a long time ago. I fought in 2012. I fought in 2011, 2013,
All right.
2014.
Well, Glenn
But
thought
I
he was
fought
older than you.
2015.
I think I love that he thought he was older than you, and you are definitely older than him, and he was shocked. So that was a good moment on the show last night. You can check us out after every episode of AEW
Well, he's
Dynamite.
right.
Johnny
He is
North and
older.
Glenn
Like I told
McKenzie.
you, I'm a year younger.
Can I
It's okay,
finish
we'll
a
leave it at
sentence
that.
without you fucking jumping all over me, talking? Like, you never let me finish a sentence. You always interrupted me. Huh? What's that about? What happened there?
What happened?
I don't know. I'm surprised you're not
Well, he's
glitching
letting
out
you
tonight.
go.
Oh, okay. Kevin Holland is going to replace Darren Till to fight Marvin Vettori on April 10th. That's official. Till has a broken collarbone. Kevin Holland stepping in after that weird performance against Derek Brunson where he lost like a couple weeks ago. Holland now back into it, fighting Marvin Vettori next week in a fight that I probably won't see because it's happening at the same time as WrestleMania.
Oh, that
WrestleMania.
sucks.
I mean, whatever. I'll watch it later or I won't. WrestleMania.
But, I mean, it's
takes
not like
precedence.
a huge card.
Watch it at the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
If you're only going to watch that main card, that's it, that main fight, because the rest of the card is nothing great, Dave. You know?
WrestleMania.
Let's be honest.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I'm surprised that Kevin Holland is coming back that fast after the last performance. And you know what? Power to him. But to be honest, man, Marvin Vettori, this guy, man, he's a beast. I don't know how Holland's going to get out of that fight. I don't think it's a good fight to take after his last performance. Because I have a feeling Vettori's going to knock him out.
Stylistically, it's a much better matchup for him than Derek Brunson. Vettori's going to stand with him. That's what Kevin Holland likes, and that's what Kevin Holland's really good at. I think this is a good move for Kevin Holland to get back into it, try to take on one of the top middleweights in the world, remain, on top of the division. I think it's a good move.
When it was announced that Darren Till was out of the fight, the first thing that came to mind was AJ must be relieved because you had like his boy Darren Till against an Italian guy, I guess, Vettori. He must be Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what would have AJ picked? It would have killed him to have to pick. So
that's
great
true.
news.
It
And
is.
if you're
You're
Kevin
absolutely
Holland,
right.
man, props to Kevin Holland, who's had an awful fight against Derek Brunson. But he's putting it in the past, and the best thing to do is try to put a win on his record right now. And Kevin Holland, he's still a fun fighter, so if he comes out with a good win here, he'll be back on people's mind quick enough.
That's it. This is a good fight to come back. You come back, you stay in the top 10, you remain one of the title contenders if you can get a win here over Vettori. So I think that's good. Angelo likes my jersey. Thank you, Angelo. Angelo, a member of the team. Don't forget to become a member of the team. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net. You go to merch.ringsidereport.net to get some merch as well. Wearing a little Expos jersey today because it is the first day of baseball. It's opening day today, Major League Baseball.
Today's
and
really?
I
Cool.
wish I was going to see a baseball game today, but
You saw Tom Brady's April Fool?
yeah, he's an asshole. Fuck Tom Brady.
On,
No, fuck
Why?
him.
What
He's
happened?
playing with my
hurt
emotions,
your
that fucking
feelings?
dick. Yeah. What? Who is he? Fucking Tom Brady. Oh, I'm bringing the Expos back, and I'm going to be one of the owners. Shut up, Tom Brady.
At
It's
least
like,
he's talking
no.
about them.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he was drafted by them, so, he was a baseball player before, and people make Expos jokes with Tom Brady. I don't give a shit. Fuck off, Tom Brady. Making little Expos jokes.
man,
I don't give a shit.
I don't know if it's a joke either, but I heard something about Elon Musk being on the board of directors for the UFC. I don't know if that's a joke or
It's
if that's
probably
real.
a joke. It's probably a joke.
Everything you read today was a joke, AJ.
Yeah.
Everything.
I hope so, man.
Today is the day to stay off social media.
I mean, every day is a day to stay off social media
Including
for you,
Glenn's
AJ.
reference.
Speaking of social media, here's AJ. Conor McGregor, an
AJ,
equally ridiculous character. Conor McGregor, he says it's time to bring out a new belt. He wants the McGregor belt. Please create the McGregor belt. I suggest rose gold and rubies. Think Patek Rare. So I don't know.
And
I think
every time he loses, there's a new one?
I guess, people
because,
just take the belt from him when he loses his
Freddie.
fights.
But you know what's funny that he's saying that because he actually had some say into creating the BMF belt. Conor actually had some artistic input into that belt, so it's kind of interesting. But you know what? If Conor has to fight, let him fight for that BMF fight. I want to see. No one's fought ever since. A lot of people want to see that, man.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen right now because the BMF champion, I think, is Masvidal, and Masvidal's going to fight the welterweight champion next. So that's what's going
How
on
about
there.
He concentrates on his fight with Poirier and wins. And if he wins against Poirier, people are going to be back on the McGregor train, man. Just win, man.
Exactly,
Be active and
Freddie.
win, Connor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You'll get all the belts. You could buy all the belts you want with all the money you're going to make.
But you could say that, but, Nate Diaz has a fight booked too, and he seems pretty focused on Conor. UFC can call it, I get my ass beat, then choked out every other fight championship belt. They can make it yellow gold or rose gold with rubies, a diamond. Let's link. UFC open for suggestions. Maybe put a leprechaun face on there. So Nate Diaz thinks it's kind of a joke. Conor and Nate did go back and forth on Twitter, and it was an interesting back and forth. Conor talked about going up 2 weight classes and doing all sorts of shit, and then Nate responded, and Nate goes, who went up 2 weight classes in half a day notice, no hesitation, and not promotion about it, just did it because I ain't no bitch. How's that, Conor? Fuck you. Whatever you think you did already, been done by a real G, try not to get finished again. And then Conor replies, what? What in the Facebook prelims is this shit? Who the fuck is Rory Markham? 177? Because the fight was at 177 pounds for some reason. What in the Facebook prelims is this shit? That's fucking gold from Conor. That's so good. And then he goes, and don't worry, on my next fight, bro, you and your face know what I'm like when I go again with it. And then
What?
Nate responded, don't forget, Dustin fucked you up, but he's scared of me. You are both some bitches, and I slapped Kebab. He was scared with no counter, and he owned you. So who's the real king? Me, bitch. That's who. King Nate Dogg. Holy shit.
Fighting words, man.
Tell me this ain't a freak show also, man. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
love it, man.
King Nate
Come
Dogg?
on, man.
It got worse.
Great.
It got worse. At one point... Okay, here's where it gets worse. So,
What happened?
Nate... This is the end of it, I think. So, Nate tweeted that, right? You're scared, and Dustin fucked you up, and da-da-da, he's scared of me. And then Conor replied, I forget nothing, bro, and you'll see that soon enough. And you'll see that soon enough. And don't talk to me about a little slap and a scuffle. I had them all trapped thinking they were dead. You're the king of nothing. He's talking about Khabib, right? Because Nate and Khabib's team got into a fight, but Conor's like, look what I did. I had them in the bus. I had them all trapped thinking they were dead. Both of these guys would lose to Khabib in an actual fight, though, so whatever. You're the king of nothing. You couldn't even win your own belt they made for you, let alone any other, which is true. Nate's never won a UFC championship, and he didn't win the BMF title, right? So that was good. And then Nate responds, LOL, you suck. And then Conor's response takes the cake here. Yeah, on big tits. What? You suck.
What's that
Yeah,
mean, man?
on big tits. That's his response.
Oh,
It's just
on
a
big-
childish response. LOL, you suck, Nate Diaz. Connor responds, yeah, on big tits. What? Are they 6? What's going on here? What the fuck?
Classic, man. That's
Really
awesome.
degenerated there. It was just like shit talking. Ah, fuck you, you suck. Yeah, I suck on big titties, you dick. Like, what the fuck?
And I mean, let's be honest. None of these two guys are really like relevant in the championship at welterweight, man.
Well,
but you see, people
if
love
Nate
the freak
beats
show, man.
Leon Edwards, he is.
We'll see if he beats him. Start with that.
Yeah. What's
That's
your
true.
Nate
What's your
lost
feel
to,
on that?
to Masvidal. And plus, you think Nate wants to fight Usman? You think Nate wants to fight Colby? You think Nate wants a rematch with Masvidal? Come on, man. Nate picked the right matchup amongst like the top 4 or 5 guys at welterweight. Leon Edwards is the fight that makes the most sense for him. And Leon Edwards also very smart to take this fight. Nate Diaz is a big name. And if you're Leon Edwards, I'd rather fight Nate Diaz than fighting Colby Covington or fighting Usman right now. Nate Diaz is a big star. You beat him, your value is going to go high.
Yeah, it's a big fight for Leon Edwards. I feel bad for Bilal Muhammad. The guy got his eye poked out, and, he had that fight with Leon Edwards, and for some reason, Leon Edwards, after that fight, is being treated like he won, which I find a little strange. Like, it was a no contest. He was looking good, but the fight lasted, a round? And he
But he was
poked
also
his
the
eye.
bigger star already.
Yeah, and he was kind of on his way to getting a big fight, but he was supposed to fight like Khamzat Chimaev or somebody else at welterweight, and now it's like Nate Diaz all of a sudden. It's just strange. I get it with Leon Edwards, but also I don't get it because, like, Bilal Muhammad kind of got screwed out of this deal. Hopefully they find him a decent opponent. But my feel on this is
for a while, man.
Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards. I think it's a good matchup for Nate because Leon is going to stand with him. Like, a bad matchup for Nate as a wrestler, but I don't know if Nate's a fighter anymore. Like, is he still there or is he just kind of part-time? I don't know what's going on, and I'm not even convinced that this fight even happens. That's my feel on it. I'd go with Leon Edwards right now without thinking too much about it, and Nate's just so inactive that I don't really see him as...
Yeah, but Nate shows up.
He hasn't fought since November 2019.
I
agree,
Leon, but Nate, when he signs for a fight, he shows up. He's not like his brother. Like, Nate is pretty reliable usually.
True.
Usually.
And you know what, Dave? Look at Leon Edwards. Before Bilal, man, he was off for like a couple of years as well, man. He had like he needs a fight, and he needs to have a fight. The last one with Bilal, technically,
fight Bilal again.
No, because Bilal is going to be out with that eye injury for at least I'm thinking maybe 6 months or something. You never know, man.
No, he's fine.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'd be like, I don't know if he's mentally prepared to go back into the ring after that incident. But Leon Edwards that's the thing. He's
a last-minute replacement. Like, if you're Leon
That's
Edwards,
true.
It's not that. Like, that fight's not that appealing. Like, yeah, okay, it ended with a foul, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Well, a foul.
But if you're Leon Edwards, you don't want to be fighting Bilal Muhammad.
Right.
You're somewhere else in your career.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. It was the fight to take at the time, but now a bigger fight has materialized for him, so it's fine. Why is it a 5-round fight? Like, I'm not mad about it, but it's weird, right?
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, but it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange, but hey, whatever. The UFC is a weird place these days. Conor and Dustin should be doing the rematch in July. So if Nate fights in June or in May, I guess Conor fights in July, sets up the Conor-Nate rematch maybe end of the year. Hopefully, right? That's pretty cool.
Man,
all right, how about this?
Card looks awesome, man.
Yeah, the 262 card does look good. Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards, Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira will be the main event.
You got Tony Ferguson there.
I just saw a weird
Ronald
comment.
Souza.
Bon Kiki says Stefan Struve called out Khabib. Well, he seems a little big.
What?
I don't know. It's a weird comment. I don't really understand in what wrestling, MMA. Struve is a little
maybe
big.
Wrestling.
Khabib is a 155 pounder. Struve is a heavyweight. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, but Stefan Struve is completely. Doesn't he have like a heart condition?
Well, he retired from MMA, so I don't know. We don't have to address it too much. Let's address this. Maybe Stefan Struve wants to go to Bellator. Seems like they're signing some ex-UFC heavyweights. Scott Coker interested in signing Alistair Overeem and Junior Dos Santos, and he sees them as potential opponents in the late summer or early fall for. Any guesses? Any guesses who Coker wants to book JDS or Overeem against later this
Don't
year?
Tell me something crazy.
Fred, say it. Say it again, Fred.
Fedor.
Yup.
No.
Yup.
What?
I mean,
not done.
You're kidding me.
If you think that Mayweather-Pacquiao happened too late, Fedor Overeem is like way, way too late. But I'll still watch it.
Big time, man. Is that a fact? Or is that just rumors right now?
Oh, that's what Scott Coker said. Scott Coker said he's interested in both guys, and he sees them as potential opponents for Fedor in some sort of retirement fight, and he does expect Fedor to be fighting late summer, early fall. So, August, September.
How old is Fedor now?
Old as fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man.
I mean,
damn.
They're all old, man.
One of my favorite fighters of all time.
No, Anderson's not. I said that. I was
45.
wrong. Anderson is 45. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for bringing that back, Fred. And Fedor is 44. He'll be turning 45 in September. So Anderson is only 45.
Well, he's not that bad.
I mean, he's not that good either. Like, he hasn't looked great in his past couple of fights. He did beat Rampage Jackson in his last pro MMA fight in December 2019. So there's that.
Do you remember what Rampage looked like?
Oh, super fat.
Come on, man. Rampage.
He looked ridiculously fat.
Yeah, he didn't look good at all, man. It didn't even look like Rampage at all. A big, Michelin tire kid, man. It was terrible.
Something about Khabib and Struve. Khabib told Struve that he's not a farmer, that he's never milked cows or handled chickens, that he's got soft hands. So Khabib, what? That's a weird thing to say. I don't know. Apparently, Khabib and Stefan Struve are getting into it on Instagram, but like,
I wouldn't want to mess with Khabib, man. You know, like there's too many people that want to challenge Khabib, but you know what?
well, he's small.
He's small,
Struve
but
is
he
gigantic.
Khabib,
What's he doing?
man.
Why not?
So
Yeah,
what?
but-
Yeah. You know what? If Khabib takes him down, man, it's gonna be a different story. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of trash talk with Khabib. Everybody's trashing Khabib now. Everybody.
Because he doesn't
You know,
want to
so-
fight. Because he doesn't want to fight.
Exactly.
And if you
But the
manage
minute
to
he
bring
says
him out,
yes-
if you manage to bring him out of retirement, it's payday, man. So yeah, why not call out Khabib? Everybody should be calling out Khabib. Nate, Conor, Struve, John Jones, and Ngannou. Everybody call out Khabib. Jake Paul. Jake Paul should call
See,
out
I don't
Khabib.
like it.
Honestly,
I don't
if
like
I were
those
Jake
type
Paul,
of
that's who I'd call out.
What?
Because Khabib is not known for his hands, and he's a fucking huge name. Call out Jake Paul. If he beats Ben Askren, he should go for Khabib next.
Now, Jake Paul is another story. That's a freak show, but I don't like when real fighters call out a guy that's retired, man. Let the guy be retired, man. Like
Exactly, man.
Money.
Yeah, like. Anyways, I
Businessman.
remember when
Especially
Rory
a guy-
McDonald wanted to fight BJ Penn. I was like, why? Why do you
Yeah.
want to fight BJ Penn right now? It's like when these guys say they want to fight an old timer, man. Let that guy retire, man.
Like when Conor
Look,
McGregor
the
wanted
only-
to fight Diego Sanchez.
Yeah,
You know?
that was weird.
Usman
That was
wanting
weird.
to
That was
fight
weird.
GSP, you know, like
Yeah.
if GSP says he wants back in, then okay, say I want to fight him. But until like GSP says he wants back in, let the guy retire, man.
Or like when
And-
Derek Lewis beat Curtis Blades and then called out Alistair Overeem in his post-fight press conference, and everybody was like,
Yeah.
why? He's like, oh, I want to fight Overeem.
Yeah, exactly.
Overeem's coming off a knockout loss, though, and he's like, yeah, Overeem. Overeem's the guy. And then the UFC released Overeem, and now Derek Lewis has to fight Ngannou because that's what the UFC wants for him. Derek Lewis is like, can I fight Overeem? He's coming off a knockout loss. I'll fight him. And UFC's like, nah, how about we give you $8 million to fight Francis Ngannou? And he's like, all right, I guess.
I doubt he'll get 8 million. He'll get nowhere close to that. But you know what? Everybody wants Khabib. But the bottom line is the only guy that can get Khabib is a guy like George, where Khabib says, you know what, that fight will happen. Until then, Khabib is going to be retired. I didn't really think that George was going to be retired, but ever since I saw his last interview and whatnot, he's not coming out. He's not coming out unless it's a Conor McGregor or a Khabib, and that's it. No one else in the UFC is going to take these two guys back into the octagon.
We'll see. The Khabib George thing, I'm not giving up hope, but I'm pretty much there.
I want to see it. Everybody wants to see that fight. I think Khabib and George wanted to see it, and you know it better than anyone because you interviewed George, and that's what he wanted. But for some reason, the UFC always, like I said earlier, destroys those fights that everybody wants to see.
Just give
They
me
had
what
an
I want.
opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't do it. I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. When both fighters agreed that they wanted to fight each other, Khabib and George said yes, but somehow or another, Dana White said no.
It's a
Why?
bunch of
I have
weird
no
shit.
idea.
Well, I
It's
mean,
weird
it's
shit.
weird
man.
shit.
Jones and Ngannou want to fight, then
Yeah. Dana White says no.
it's not happening.
You know? There's a
Look,
lot of
that's
guys that
not-
seem like they want to fight, and it just doesn't happen. Like, that's the weird thing this week. Dana White comes out, and he's like, John Jones and Ngannou's not going to happen. And everybody's like, huh? And then he's like, oh, by the way, Nate Diaz is going to fight Leon Edwards. And everybody's like, what? What? Like, just baffling shit from the UFC this week. Shit no one asked for.
It doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. But look, maybe there's a method to their madness because you know what? Ratings are going up. Like events are going up. They're going to have a sellout UFC 262 pretty much in Texas at a full capacity. I mean, they're doing something where they just, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in the end because we're still talking about these events. The cards are looking good. And you know what? I want to see George Khabib. The world wants to see it, but for some reason, man, who knows what's behind the scenes of all this? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think it's
Come
going to
on, man.
happen. We're seeing a lot of comments from Bon Kiki on the chat. He says Khamzat is coming
Kiki.
back to the UFC. Yeah, who do you want to see Khamzat fight? I think at middleweight, Derek Brunson would be a good one. At welterweight, that's the thing with Khamzat. There's like a few options for him because he fights in different weight divisions. But I think I really wanted to see that Leon Edwards fight. I think that would have been interesting for Khamzat. But at middleweight, I think Brunson, Wonder Boy. That would be sick at welterweight. Yes. Give me that shit. That's what I would like to see. And he also says Francis versus John Jones would be the fight of the year. I agree, That's the thing. This is the fight I want to see more than anything else because Francis seems so big, so unstoppable, so powerful. He looks so good right now. He just knocked out Stipe. He seems like the most dangerous man on the planet. And then here's John Jones, who seems unbeatable, has never been beat, and is coming up to heavyweight, looks great. This seems like the fight to make. It's a slam dunk. It's an easy fight to make. And Dana White, for some reason, doesn't want to make it. And when he's asked about it at the press conference, he says, John Jones should move down to 185 pounds. To me, as a promoter of the UFC, with the fight that everybody in the world wants to see, you don't disparage your greatest fighter of all time. You actually prop him up and say, John Jones, this is what Dana White should have said. John Jones, one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's undefeated. Francis Ngannou was an absolute monster. We saw that tonight. When these two guys go into the octagon, it's going to be fucking crazy. I don't know what's going to happen there. Is John Jones going to lose for the first time? Will Francis Ngannou get beat by a more tactical John Jones? That is a huge fucking fight. And hopefully we can make this fight happen. We'll negotiate it. Not fucking, John Jones should be scared of Francis move down to 185. Like, maybe you think that, but don't say that publicly. What you say publicly is, this is a big fight that we can make. Like, don't shit on your own product. And that's what he did. John Jones is a UFC product, and Dana White, who's the boss of the UFC, shit on one of his best products to the world, and everybody just kind of laughed it up. That's not how you promote one of the biggest fights ever and one of the greatest fighters of all time. It's just, it's irrational. Unless you really hate him, unless you have a personal feeling. Right. It might be personal, or it might be that Jones is asking for, $600 million, and the UFC's like, well, no, here's 10.
I got a good answer for you.
Yeah.
Dana White probably prefers having Ngannou as a champion than John Jones, because if John Jones is the champion, then every fight becomes a headache to negotiate for him.
Yeah.
Whereas he has Ngannou on an easy contract. He has Derek Lewis on an easy contract. Hey, you guys have a contract. You're not happy? Too bad. I'll give the title shot to somebody else.
Yep.
Whereas if John Jones becomes the champion, he's going to have to pay John Jones at every fight. So this might be a hard negotiation. Like, we're the fans. We want to see that fight. Dana always thinks as far as money, man. Dana doesn't care that much about, he's an MMA fan. He cares about the sport and all that, but he cares about his business mostly. And he could see maybe John Jones as being more of a headache than anything else.
He doesn't want the guys to get bigger than the company, right? He doesn't want George to beat Khabib because then he'd walk away with the championship and he couldn't negotiate him to come back. He doesn't want John Jones to beat Francis, because if John Jones beat Francis, there goes Francis, and John Jones might just retire. Fuck, John Jones has done it all, been there, done that.
Fight once a year.
Fight once a year for, $100 million, and that's the kind of money you're going to have to pay John Jones if he does beat Francis, because then, holy shit, he's the greatest of all time without any doubt. Does the UFC really want to give him that? Right? Do they want to give him that? Apparently not. It's not John Jones that's scared of Francis Ngannou. It's Dana White that's scared of fucking John Jones. And Francis Ngannou should tell Dana, look, boss, give him whatever he wants. I'll take care of this John Jones problem. But you know what, Francis? Dana White doesn't believe in you. He thinks John Jones would whoop your fucking ass, and that's why you're not fighting John Jones. Because Dana White thinks you would fucking lose, Francis Ngannou, and you should fucking tell the boss, hey, Dana, I can handle this shit. But if Dana thought you would win 100%, he'd pay Jones whatever the fuck he wanted, and then they would fight, and then he would have Francis win, and then he would be rid of the John Jones problem. He would not have to pay him all that money. He wouldn't be undefeated anymore, and he wouldn't have that negotiation leverage. But Dana White thinks John Jones will fucking win. When he says Jones should go down to 185, he's bullshitting. What he's really thinking is, oh shit, if Jones beats this fucking guy, then I'm going to have to deal with him for the rest of my life, and I don't want to pay this fucker. So fuck it. John Jones is scared. He doesn't want Ngannou, which is bullshit. John Jones isn't scared of anybody. He beat the shit out of Daniel Cormier twice. You think John Jones is scared of anybody?
There, Dave.
Twice.
Whoa.
Knocked him out. Clunk. Beat the
Yeah.
shit out of him.
Yeah.
Beat the
Pico
shit out of
Francis,
him.
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, okay.
Listen.
Check what happened.
But I
Go
was
watch the
gonna-
fucking tape. Go watch to see how those fucking
How
fights
about
went.
Dominic Reyes?
Beat the
about
shit out of
Santos?
Dominic
Because that
Reyes.
was-
Smashed him. Who's Dos
No,
Santos?
yeah.
There is no Dos Santos that he fought.
I said Santos.
yeah,
I said
whatever. He
Santos.
beat him
So
too.
let's
He
look at
beat
those
them
two
all.
fights.
He beat them all. And Dana
He
is
didn't beat
scared.
them. Great.
He doesn't
Let's be
believe
honest.
in Francis Ngannou. He doesn't believe.
Listen, I was going to say this, Dave. Do you think that when Dana White says his shit and people are like, oh, Dana can make the fight, do you think that there's not people behind him that are really conducting the orchestra and Dana White is just saying whatever he wants to say? But behind him is the ones that really can make that fight. Where they're like, Dana is the president, but he is not the company. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is that maybe there's something, we're pushing the wrong envelope. People from behind the scenes, man, have got to realize that everybody wants to see Jones Ngannou. There's no doubt about it. I want to see it. Not that I think Jones is going to win. In my opinion, Ngannou is he is the UFC heavyweight now and the future. And it's a shame because there's a lot of great fighters that are coming up. I mean, Stipe was a great champion. I love Stipe, but Stipe hasn't fought a lot of the new young bloods, and Ngannou was one of them. He lost him. He beat him that the first time, but it was a different fighter. Ngannou was evolved over 3 years, and Stipe fought Cormier, an old lion, for 3 years. It's a different game, but what I'm saying is maybe someone behind Dana White is going to push it so that we get to see this Jones-Ngannou fight. And you know what?
That's
Everybody
the fight.
makes
And
money.
you can say Francis Ngannou is the fucking future and all that shit, and that's all well and good, but John Jones is now, he's the past, and he might be the future too of the heavyweight division. I am not convinced that Francis Ngannou wins, and I know you are, but you were also convinced that fucking Gustafsson would beat Jones and Thiago Santos and all these fucking guys that got their asses kicked by John
listen,
Jones.
man,
So
Dominic,
I don't
wait,
really,
listen, you can
I
say
don't
what you
really
want.
care about
I
what
know.
your opinion is on John Jones fights because you pick him over and over to lose, and he never ever does, right? So Freddie and I are
You're
looking
right.
at this fight
You're right.
in a realistic way, and I am not convinced that Francis wins. I think if I were,
What?
to
Come
pick
on,
the
Dave.
fight today, Agent, can you fucking let me finish a sentence? If I
Yes,
were
you
to
can go.
pick the fight today, I would probably pick Ngannou to win. But
Cool.
I don't know if I'd put money on it, and I would really have to watch a lot of John Jones fights and a few Ngannou fights to really figure it out. Ngannou has the power to put out any man's lights, but at the
Jesus
same
Jones.
time, John Jones has never been knocked down. He's never been hurt. He's never been in trouble.
But he's
AJ,
never fought in
you-
heavyweight.
kicks,
Let's be
man.
honest.
Couple
What?
of those oblique
never-
kicks, man, they would
Exactly.
stop Ngannou.
Yeah, it would stop his forward movement. John Jones would have him backpedaling. He'd take him down, beat him up, maybe even choke him out. John Jones is the greatest fighter I have ever seen in the UFC, and I think that he could beat Francis Ngannou, but I'm not sure, and that's why that's the fight to make, because I don't think there's anybody at 205 pounds that could beat John Jones. We've seen it for years. Nobody could. And AJ, you could say, oh, Dominic Reyes is close or whatever. Fucking, he was maybe close on points, but did he put him in danger? Did he hurt the man? Has anybody ever hurt John Jones? I have never seen him dropped. I've never seen him stumbled. I've never seen him hurt or in trouble. I've seen him maybe lose rounds on points, but I have never seen anybody hurt John Jones in a UFC fight and put him in real danger where it's like, oh shit, John is about to lose. Never been dropped,
Yeah, but-
never been hurt. And you're
But
going to say
let's be
Francis
honest.
is the one
Has
to
there-
do it? I don't fucking think so.
Well, listen,
I'm
let
not
me tell
sure
you something.
about that.
Do you think anybody in the light heavyweight division has more power behind his punches? And even when
No.
Stipe got knocked out, it wasn't a full
Francis,
punch.
of course
Imagine
not, AJ.
that.
I mean,
Of
that's a
course.
stupid
So
question.
do you
Obviously
think-
not.
No, it's not stupid.
It is.
There you go.
Francis
And it's the
Ngannou's
first
like the
fight
most
that
powerful guy ever. It is a dumb question. You think anybody at light heavyweight's more powerful than Francis Ngannou? No. I don't think anybody in the history of the light heavyweight or heavyweight division has been as powerful as Francis Ngannou. Like, no shit.
So you're going
He's
up to your
got
first
power.
You're going to go up to your first heavyweight. Yeah, so that's what I'm
So
saying. Dave.
what?
It's a different game, man. I
Oh,
don't think
here
he's
we
going to be
go.
as fast for
Fred
that weight.
Ngannou is clearly the toughest fight that John Jones would ever have to have. Like, that's not even debatable. And John Jones is probably is an underdog from the odds that are out right now. So,
He is.
John Jones is probably not even expected to win, but it has to be made. John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time because of what he did to light heavyweight, and he deserves a shot at heavyweight, man. He deserves a title shot right away.
100%. This is the fight to make.
Look, if he wins,
John Jones right now, the line opened with Ngannou as a minus 190 favorite. Jones plus 165 underdog. That makes sense. But we're still talking about John Jones, undefeated, greatest of all time. That's the fight to make. That is the fight to make by far. And, you know, when they asked Dana White, hey, Dana, is that the fight to make? And he says, this shit? Like, come on now.
If I'm John Jones and I'm home watching this fight, I start moving to 85.
See, that's
funny,
bullshit.
man.
That's bullshit. That's not what he really means. Here's what he really means. Here's what Dana's really saying.
You think that's a fight that you'd like to put together next? I mean, I know we don't match make, but that sure does seem exciting.
Listen, I can sit here all day and tell you, what show me the money mean.
Right? That's the point. I could sit here all day and tell you what show me the money means. And that's what it comes down to. John has a number, the UFC has a number, and they're nowhere close.
I tell you guys this all the time. If you can say you want to fight somebody, but do you really want to?
Yeah.
You can say you want to make big fights, but do you really want to?
he's got a point there. He's got a point.
No, he doesn't.
You want to fight.
No, he
everybody
doesn't.
wants to fight
No, he
the top
doesn't,
guy,
AJ.
but not everybody has the skills to beat that top guy. Let's be honest. That's what I'm saying. If Jones beats
John Jones
Ngannou
ain't scared of
right
nobody,
now,
man.
Oh,
he's
John
going to
Jones
be
trying
doesn't
to
have the
make-
skills.
No, he's
Right.
not. John Jones is highly skilled. There's no doubt about
It's
it,
not
and
even
he's not
about
afraid
that.
to fight.
Exactly.
But the
He's trying
motivation
to
will
make
be
it
there.
sound like if John Jones would want to avoid Ngannou, and John
No,
Jones
no.
doesn't, like he relishes it. Like he wants this challenge.
Look, if you look at some of the comments over the week, you look at guys like Jan Blachowicz that's like yapping, and he's talking about Jones. He left the light heavyweight because he was scared of him. People are going to trash talk. Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
did you see that comment?
It's
I
ridiculous.
know, but that's the comment.
That's ridiculous.
But-
John Jones would eat that guy alive. Get out of here.
But the problem is, dude, you know that, but the thing is that let him get through the heavyweight division, and then maybe he'll go back down to light heavyweight and claim that title back. But, for Jan, in his mind, he thinks that Jones is afraid of him. He's been ducking him. And listen, it's not my words. Those are the words that were put out all this week.
Khabib is watching the show. What's up, Khabib? How you doing,
Khabib,
Khabib?
man.
Is that really
Here's
Khabib?
Khabib.
You see that?
Listen,
Hello,
man, I'll
brother,
tell you
Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's watching the show. Shout out to Khabib. Shout out to Khabib watching the
We
show.
love
We
you,
appreciate
Khabib.
the love, Khabib. Khabib, fight George. Dana is scared of you fighting George. Do it. Do it, Khabib. And I saw Bon Kiki says I look like a young George. A young GSP. Thank you. I like that.
I don't see it.
No, I don't see it either.
You made Dave's. Here it is. Here's George. Dave, get close. Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Get close? What do you mean get close?
Look at that.
Super chat. Oh!
Super chat.
Antoinette says, Jones is the man. Bring it on. She's right. Antoinette knows.
love
Shout out
Antoinette.
to
She's right.
Antoinette. One of the members of the team and also Super Chat.
T.O.
Always representing out in Toronto. Saw the Blue Jays.
Hey, it's a
got win over
lockdown
my
in
Yankees
Toronto. I don't know
today.
how she's doing it.
I hope she's doing
Hey,
all
they're
right.
locked down in Toronto.
Yeah.
Blue Jays are playing? No.
If you fucking listen to me, you'd hear what the fuck I'm saying half the time, AJ. But every time I'm fucking talking, you're fucking yapping. Toronto. I said
I just
the Blue
realized why
Jays
Dave
beat
is a
the
little
Yankees.
mad right now. Yeah, exactly, because his Yankees lost.
No, I'm
That's
mad
all
because
right.
AJ.
Yeah,
Oh,
is-
is that why he's upset? Oh,
No,
See,
Yeah,
I'm wearing my
AJ.
Astros cap, but it's a coincidence. I didn't even know it
It's
was
okay.
opening
Boston
day.
Red Sox are the top team, man. Let's be honest.
Okay, good
It's
luck
okay,
today.
Dave.
Good luck to you, AJ. Very, very knowledgeable. All right, that's it. I've had enough of you, AJ. We're done.
What?
Right.
Why, man?
I'm done with you. I'm done with you.
Antoinette just gave a super chat. You
Douglas
can't be
Hepburn
like that.
says, "Great jersey, Dave. Go Tigers." Just wanted to check in and see if AJ is still on the air. AJ is still on the show, but we did have to explain some things to him, what he can and can't say. He doesn't really understand.
Why did you put that PR thing I sent you with my PR guy?
Because it's
we had a chat.
Because I saw it. It wasn't very
but
good.
that's real.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
put
not
it on,
real.
man.
No, I'm not putting it on.
Put it.
Khabib
Come
says it would be
on.
honored to fight GSP, but mother no want me to fight. I think that's really Khabib.
Listen, man. The guy has listen. He listens to his mother, but maybe the mother will change her mind and say, you know what, go fight that George, that French guy in Quebec, and that's it. Maybe things will happen. You'll never know.
Khabib, ask your mom
Khabib
again.
is still young.
Come on, just ask her
Politely.
again. Please, Khabib. We really want to see it. Khabib, you're the best. So bad.
He is the greatest. Let's be honest. Between him and John Jones, who do you think is the greatest? Hands down, man. John Jones is one of the greatest. Khabib.
John Jones.
Khabib, man.
Khabib, who is best? You
Clean
or John
as a
Jones?
whistle.
I'd say John
Khabib,
Jones.
man,
Sorry,
that's-
Khabib.
Come on. You guys are crazy.
I don't know. John Jones is pretty good.
If you look at it, no. Overall, man, you can't. Clean as a whistle, Khabib.
You're such a John
Fair
Jones
fighter.
hater.
Yeah.
Let's not get back into that. Let's just finish on
Hey,
that.
listen, man. I said that if Jones beats Nogano, he's going to be one of the greatest fighters of all time, if not the greatest fighter.
One of the greatest, as if he's not one of the greatest already. That's fucking funny, AJ. You're
Khabib
such a
says,
John
"I
Jones
never."
hater.
It's okay, man.
Khabib says, "I never take steroids." So I guess he's saying John Jones takes steroids. Khabib hasn't.
He's a picogram. He takes lots of picograms. Khabib doesn't take picograms. Khabib flies like an eagle, man.
I like that Khabib
Jones
Nurmagomedov
flies
is
high as
watching
a
our
kite.
show. I think that's cool.
Why not,
Khabib,
man?
hey, Khabib, become a member of the team, okay? Become a member of the channel. Go to the YouTube
we need
channel,
your money,
become a
Khabib.
member. Yeah, Khabib, you got some money. Like, hit us up with a super chat or something, Khabib. If this is real Khabib, you would show us some money. You know what I mean? I'll do push-ups for you like you did with those homeless guys on the street, you know? When he gave them money and they did push-ups, you know? Khabib, send us some money. Send location, Khabib. Send location. Khabib's got some money, you know? Hit us up on super
I wonder
chat
how much he's
or
worth now.
become a member of the channel. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net. You could also buy some cool merch, Khabib, with our faces on it. Look at that. There's a cup with my face
how
on
nice
it
that
and
is.
Fred's. Look at that. Buy it over at merch.ringsidereport.net. Merch.ringsidereport.net. Okay?
That's
Thank
cool,
you,
man.
Khabib.
All of Dagestan.
We love you,
Dagestan,
Khabib.
number
We
one.
love Dagestan. Islam Makhachev, next world champion. I'm with you.
You think so? Yeah, you called it from a long time ago. So
I think Islam is next. I think Khabib left, and now it's Islam time.
Yeah. You
Khabib
called that a
likes
long
us.
time ago, so that.
He thinks we're funny.
Yeah, well, you know.
Thank you, Khabib.
All we need now is George to get on the chat. What's that, man?
Oh, I thought that was Khabib.
Is it
I
George?
My
was-
poster, man.
I was
gotta show
excited.
the full poster.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Listen.
Dig it.
We
Douglas
get
Hepburn.
George on. We get George. What?
Douglas Hepburn says, "Hey, Freddie, great poster." There you go. He's loving the Mega Powers posters. Thank you, Douglas Hepburn, for the super chat. Khabib, we're still waiting on you, brother. I know you got big money from Dana White. Antoinette says, still better Jones. Sorry, Khabib. Antoinette is saying Jones better than Khabib. Yeah, I think Islam Makhachev, like, he's the next one for that team. He's just looked amazing. His last fight, he looked great. He's 29 years old. I think Islam is coming into his own, and, you know, he's part of that Khabib team. He's very Khabib-ish. I think Islam Makhachev, I mean, Khabib, you could tell me what you think, but I think Islam is next champion at 155. Now that you're gone, Khabib, I think Islam is coming up, and he's next. That's what it looks like.
Man, well, if you look at overall Khabib's like training camps and whatnot out in Dagestan, the team that he's developing, man, there's so many fighters coming, like at such a young age. There's gonna be a whole Dagestan army of champions in the near future, man. And we're talking the next 5 years is gonna be like I said way back, man. Brazil was like the country of champions.
I mean, there's 3 African.
And the future is gonna be Dagestan. Now, you're right, and now there's 3 African champions. We've got we've got
Well, you just
Chinese
said it was
champions.
Dagestan.
I mean,
Not
Which
a
one
country.
is it?
But
Guys, we got to be careful though.
I'm saying-
Africa, not. I mean, Dagestan is a region in Russia. Africa is a continent, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like saying,
Cameroon, you say
there's like four
Nigeria,
North
2 Nigerian
American
champions.
champions. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a pretty
Yeah.
big area.
No.
Yes, there are
But
3
that-
champions from the continent of Africa. Although I think a
Yeah,
couple
which
of
is
them,
which is great.
I don't know.
which is great. Like, and
who
that
was
brings-
born there though? I think Francis.
Cameroon was Nagano, and,
well, Francis
and
was born in Cameroon.
Israel and Usman,
Israel-
Nigeria.
Usman
Israel
and Israel are born in Nigeria, I'm pretty sure.
Are they both?
Yeah,
I know
they're
Israel
Nigerians.
is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're both
Kamaru as
Nigerians.
well.
Yeah, which is great, and that's what I'm saying. It's driving the sport, man. It's driving the sport of MMA. It's driving the sport of jiu-jitsu. I've seen so many clips coming out of like Nigeria and Cameroon for like jiu-jitsu, and it's like amazing, man. Wrestling, it's amazing. So you know what? It's like power to them. And when you get to Dagestan, it's like the training methods and like there's opportunity in sport, and Dagestan has that opportunity for some of their athletes to make money, man. And, not to take away, wrestling is great, man, but you can only make so much money in wrestling and you can only make so much money in jiu-jitsu. But if you get towards the MMA world, like the Brazilians did back in the days, there's money to be made. And you know what? I think Dagestan has a great future in MMA for a future champion.
I mean, look at AJ. He's a world champion, and he's broke. No money in jiu-jitsu.
I'm broke, man. Look, I'm on the Ringside Report. I could have been with the Joe Rogan show, but no, I'm with Ringside Report. But we're moving up, guys. Like, let's not knock ourselves. We're moving up. We're
if you
doing
were
pretty
on
well.
the
We
Joe
got
Rogan
Khabib.
show, if you were on the Joe Rogan show, you would have been canceled a long time ago. All those eyeballs and ears on you, you would have been canceled. You would have been disappeared. People
Why?
would
Joe
hate
Rogan
you.
talks smack all the time.
Yeah, and
What are you
people are trying to
talking
cancel Joe Rogan for his transphobic comments. So let's not get
Yeah,
into it and
what?
cancel you for your
No,
transphobic comments as well.
no.
I had to
Me,
explain
never,
to AJ.
never.
Well, okay. I had to explain to you what dead naming was, and you accidentally did it on our watch along on Saturday, and I had to explain to you not to do that. For those that don't know, dead naming is something when. Stop fucking laughing, because I'm not joking. So.
Listen,
Dead
man,
naming is when
it's-
somebody transitions, right? You're not supposed to say their previous name, their previous gender, and AJ mistakenly did that because he doesn't
Not mistakenly,
know.
I had no
He
idea.
doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better, and
But-
sometimes he may. Hold on, AJ. I'm trying to fucking apologize for you for acting a fool, so I could keep you on the
Not a
show.
fool, man. No.
Oh.
You can't. I'm going to tell you something. You can't get mad at people that don't know. Like half the shit that's going on out there, and that's the problem with this world.
You can't get mad at
there's too
ignorant
many
people,
rules and regulations.
and AJ doesn't know
No,
all
no,
the
no.
new rules, and he's not aware, so I have to explain things to AJ. So sometimes he may say things that may come off homophobic, transphobic,
What?
racist.
Never.
Okay.
Whoa, easy
well,
there,
AJ,
David.
Could you take it easy? Because on Saturday night there was a couple instances
Never.
where you said some things and did some things that were borderline, and we had to explain to you why it was wrong. So you're going to say never, but in actual fact, you do say and do things that are inappropriate, and we have to reprimand you for it. And I am trying to save you by saying AJ's not doing this maliciously. He knows not what he is doing. He is unaware of certain rules. And I think that's true, AJ. You are unaware. I think you would agree to that.
Listen, it comes to a certain age category. I'm going to tell you
fucking
something.
marshmallow.
No, but
You look like a marshmallow.
I feel like one too. But I'm going to tell you something. You're absolutely right, and that's the thing with when people get like upset. Is like some people on the other side don't know, and if you educate them, then everybody is like everybody's happy, and that's what it comes down to. So Dave explained it to me. My PR guy explained it to me. Certain things, and you know what? And there we go. Everybody's happy. Are you happy now?
Well, I am, as long as you follow the rules that I set for you, because you are just out of control sometimes, and, it's fine. And I see Doug Hepburn says, I'm in Kingston. I still love Don Cherry. Bad comment, but not a bad
Love
man.
Don Cherry.
We love you, AJ. Yeah, see, there you go. Don Cherry, inappropriate.
I love
and you know
Don
what?
Cherry.
You know what, AJ? Don Cherry said some shit, and it went too far, and now he's not on TV anymore. So if it can happen to him,
but
who's a Canadian fucking icon, it can certainly happen to you, who's a fake world champion, apparently.
Fake. I'll give you a fake.
That's what Glenn said.
I'm going to tell you something.
Glenn
Glenn can say whatever he wants, but
Glenn
I'm going to tell
was-
you, I train with Brazilian top team, which is a real team of champions and jiu-jitsu, and we take our shit seriously. Even our worst guy in the gym will kick the shit out of any guys. And I'm going to tell you something.
Any
it's Brazilian
guys.
top team, a real
my
team.
God.
Anybody.
Or girls. The girls
AJ,
the girls on the
AJ
team
is
will
putting
kick the
his
shit out of
gym, which
everybody.
he hasn't visited in like 2 years,
Yeah.
like pressure. You know, he's like,
Yeah,
our
yeah,
guys
right.
are gonna beat you. All your guys at the gym haven't seen you in like a year and a half, man.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something. Some things you can say and some things you can't say. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'll tell you where it is.
Like your real age.
Come to Brazilian top team.
You can't say
Yeah,
what your real
44.
age is. Some things you can say, some things you can't say. Like your real age if
Nah,
you're
nah,
AJ. Khabib says, who this guy Struve? I smash him. Khabib also agrees with me.
Yes.
Says, Islam smash all these guys. If someone beat him, I will come back to fight them. I agree. I agree with you,
Ooh.
Khabib. And I
I
hope
don't
you
know
are
about that.
really the real Khabib. Antoinette says she's
Well,
going
if
to
he says
call
you
in.
look like
You
George
can call
St. Pierre.
in now to the show.
Yeah,
you can call
do that,
into
man.
the show,
What's up
so
with
you
that?
can do that.
How does that work, Dave?
You,
How does that work now?
You go to call.ringsidereport.net. It's very easy.
Okay.
Call.ringsidereport.net, and you sign in to our Discord, and then we'll put you on.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't figure it out, but anybody else watching could definitely figure it out. Right?
And that's the most important thing in the end.
Yeah. AJ doesn't need to figure
It's
these
not
things
about
out.
me.
No,
No,
because you're
not
already
at all,
on the
man.
show.
I can't wait till we're back in studio where things become so much easier again, which is not going to happen right now
For
because
you.
we're going back into like pandemic, lockdowns again. But hey,
Fred?
it's never going to
Did
end
I
this
fuck
shit.
it up like I fucked up the first the raffle where I become the first caller?
Don't do that.
Do it, Freddie. Do it, Freddie.
That'll be really weird. I think we'll hear echo, too,
But
because
it-
you'll be on two spots at once. Don't do that.
We should get Antoinette to call in.
I
She's
wanna
all the way
do
in
it.
Toronto.
Bond Kiki says, when's
That's what I
Mayweather
call
going
him.
to fight in the UFC? Mayweather is never going to fight in the UFC. He's scared.
Never.
Ever. Never, ever,
Well, he
ever.
can't. Listen, it's two different sports, and
He'd
there's no way a
lose.
guy.
Why
listen,
lose?
He would lose. Listen, we've seen that many times in the UFC where boxers have come into like the octagon. We saw that in the early days of the UFC 1, man. You know, it just doesn't happen. It's just a different sport. You know, it's been done, been said, been proven. It doesn't work. But it doesn't mean that there's a lot of boxers now that are training in high-level jiu-jitsu gyms or wrestling gyms and learning the mixed martial art aspect of that world and going into the UFC. But, you know, it's just like an MMA guy we were talking earlier. It's hard for them to go into a boxing gym, but they could because they train with boxing clubs. But to be a high-level boxer, you just got to be boxing, man.
To be a high-level boxer, you just got to be boxing. Final words from
That's
AJ D'Alessio. Beautiful stuff. Go to ringsidereport.net. Check us out. Don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment when you like. Also, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, okay? Subscribe to that channel. Click the bell. Got notifications so you know when we're on every time you get those notifications, okay? I'll be on tomorrow night right after SmackDown with Johnny North. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Every Friday night, 10 p.m. We are on Ringside Report Network. We are live every Monday night, right after Monday Night Raw, 11 p.m. Eastern. Every Wednesday night, right after Dynamite, 10 p.m. Eastern. Every Thursday night for the MMA show, Ringside Report MMA. Every Thursday night, 8 p.m. right here on the network on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. On Friday nights, right after SmackDown at 10 p.m. for Wrestling Uncensored, the post-SmackDown show. And we're off this weekend. We're not doing any watch-alongs this weekend. It is Easter. Happy Easter to our friends, and also happy Passover to all of my friends. Angelo Catagonis stepping in at the last minute with the super chat. Thank you, Angelo. We appreciate you. Super chat.
I love that super chat.
Thank you, Angelo, dropping that super chat, and he ties Doug Hepburn for the super chat lead of the night. So, Doug and Angelo, you
Nice.
two are our super chat leaders of the night. We appreciate you. We thank you. Thank you very much. And don't forget, April 17th will be our next big watch-along. We'll be watching Jake Paul versus Ben Askren boxing match with you. AJ, I know this is when you say, hey, why don't you get Matt Casavant? I talked to him. He's unavailable that night. Okay, AJ?
Oh, that's
Hey, why don't you get
too
Matt
bad.
to come on the show? Yeah, okay, AJ. How about you make your guest suggestions after the show? I knew it was coming, so I preemptively struck you down. Okay? April
Thanks, Dave.
17th. April 17th. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. It was coming, right? You were going to say that. I knew it.
Yeah,
I know you so well. It's ridiculous. Oh, my God.
Hey, listen, and first of all,
so
just tell everybody,
predictable.
even though we get upset at each other, this and that at times,
Yeah.
we love each other. You're like my brothers, and
That's
I love
it.
you guys. Even Glenn, I love Glenn. He's a good friend of mine, and I supported Glenn through like all his jiu-jitsu like endeavors from the time he was a nobody to like really training like a beast and really opening up a top level gym. And you know
And
what?
now he's doing
Bottom
pornos,
line
too.
is,
Oh!
he looks like a porn star. He looks like a porn star, man.
I'll show
You're
you a
right.
video he sent me. He's doing pornos now, Glenn. Glenn's doing pornos.
What?
Porno Glenn. That's his
You're
new
kidding
nickname
me.
on the show, Porno Glenn. Oh, I'll tell you. I'll show you a video.
I call him G-Mac.
Oh, I'll show you
Why don't we
right
just
after.
call him the Big G-Mac?
I can't show it now because, Porno Glenn, but I will show after the show. Stay on the chat with me. Stay online, and I will show you a video.
Oh, everybody's gonna want to watch that. Everybody's gonna want to see it.
Doug
We can
Hepburn.
sell the
Oh
video.
my
Let's sell
God!
it.
Is there a super chat battle going on? Should we leave or should we keep going because there's a battle happening? Doug Hepburn just dropped 279 to take the lead in the super chat battle, but then Angelo fires right back and ties him up. There's Angelo. Boom. Angelo ties him up. So it's like Angelo was in the lead with Doug, and then Doug's like, oh, I'm going to win the super chat battle. He throws one in, and then Angelo immediately sees that, and he's like, no, me. And now they're tied again. They know,
Man, this is awesome, and you know what?
They know, the
we
show's
appreciate
wrapping
it,
up.
man.
They know the show's wrapping up, and they they want to be the winner. You know what I mean? So they're just dropping him right at the end.
Hey, listen. You
I
know
love
what we
it.
should do? Dave, didn't you say we should do like a quarterly draw? Like whoever donates the most money, we should send them something from the Ringside Report, merchandise display.
Stop trying to get your hands out of my pockets, motherfucker.
Come on, man, Dave, don't be so cheap. Do something.
Get your hand. I know it's like you always suggest things. It's like, Dave, how about we do this? Oh! Doug Hepburn taking the lead. Little lead there, Angelo. You still got a couple minutes because I got to reprimand AJ for saying dumb shit again. AJ,
What did I say?
any suggestion you make, it's like, hey, Dave, how about you do this? And it's like, well, that'll take a lot of work. Yeah, but it'd be good. It's like, okay, you gonna help me? No, you should do it. Okay, great. So then he makes me do all sorts of stuff. He wants me to do work, and now he's like, hey, Dave, why don't you give merch away for free? And it's like, oh, okay. How about we get some money from you, AJ? Like, what are you talking about?
Listen, this is what I'm going to do.
Get your hands out of
Where
my
are we
pockets.
now? Listen, what's the date today? What's the date today? Tell me the date quickly.
April 1st, you fool.
So listen to this. This is not a joke, even though it's April 1st. What we're going to do is by July 15th,
No.
we're gonna
Don't guarantee
calculate who gave the
anything.
most.
No, I'm not doing that.
Listen,
Nobody's
AJ
calculating shit. No, AJ, you're not doing it.
AJ's
No,
gonna
you're
send
not.
something.
Because it's
I'm
a
doing
lie.
it. I'm going to buy sponsors. I'm going to get one of my sponsors. Well, listen, man, I've gotten stuff to our members. Antoinette won a
It
T-shirt
took
from
forever.
me. She can vouch.
It took forever.
But it was
AJ,
pandemic mailing,
okay.
man.
I am giving
I'm
a
gonna-
disclaimer to AJ saying this is an AJ idea, may not actually happen. It's completely made up. He gave a random date. He will forget about this in 3 days'
No.
time. Do not listen to AJ, but we do
July
appreciate
15th.
you. We do appreciate you, and you do get priority. If you want to call in, our members and our high super chatters, our super chat leaders, you get priority on the line. So if we have a lot of people on the line, like it's new, right? We haven't had a lot of people call in yet, but when we do have a bunch of people on the line, one of those UFC watch-alongs or a WrestleMania show or something like that, you guys will get priority. The super chat leaders get priority, and also the members get priority on the call-in. So if you want to call in and talk to us, the super chatters and the leaders of the members and stuff like that, you guys will all get priority over everybody else because you pay for the access, and we appreciate you, and we like you more than everybody else. We like everybody that watches the show, but the people that super chat and are their members, they're like friends,
No.
go.
I'm fair with everybody, but okay.
There you go. Angelo drops the super chat. I think Angelo is going to be our winner. Angelo dropping another
July
super
15th.
chat, taking the lead over on Doug Hepburn. And Doug, I think, is giving in. You got it, Angelo. Nice job, my friend. Support these guys. This is good shit, pal. Well, thank you very much, Doug and Angelo. We appreciate you guys supporting the Ringside Report Network.
What's that, man?
MMA Superfan wants to know thoughts on the UFC going public. I heard one of the stipulations of the deal is that Endeavor must purchase 100% of the company before the offering. That means Dana must sell his 9%. I don't think Dana actually has 9% anymore. I think he has quite a bit less.
But that's what I was trying to tell you with the board of directors, and they're trying to get Elon Musk. And I don't think it's any April 1st joke. I think it is serious. That's all part of it. That was all part of the news today. Well, during the week.
Yeah, well, I think that they signed. They did buy out their other partner. So Endeavor owns, like they owned another. I think Dana only owns like 1%, right? Or Endeavor bought another 49% of the company because they are looking to go public.
Listen, man, there could be big changes, man. Big changes in the UFC.
I don't think there's huge changes. We have Antoinette on the line. I think we have Antoinette on the line.
Yes.
And
Antoinette.
I think
That's
she
the way
wants to
you
say
do
what's
it.
up. I think I can put her on. This is the first time we've done this, so hopefully this works. Antoinette, are you there? Oh, maybe not.
Come
Is she
on,
there?
Dave, get it going.
Hey, motherfucker. Shut up.
I'm so excited, man.
I don't know if this is working. Antoinette, are you there?
Come on,
Can we hear
let
you?
it work.
I don't hear her. I don't hear anything. I think I turned it on. Is it working? Help me out, production team. Where's Antoinette? Is she there?
T.O. in the house. T.O. in the house.
Well, this is the first time we're doing this, so maybe it's not working. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's a good idea that we did. We'll test it.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here. Let's see.
We're breaking the ice.
Oh, Antoinette was on, and then she was off. I saw her on. And
No,
then
Antoinette, get back on. Let's hear your voice from T.O.
Where's
I
Antoinette?
forgot if she's still a Habs fan.
Can we get her on the air? Let's see. On the air. Antoinette, are you there?
I did hear something. I'll be honest, Dave. I heard something.
Oh, I think she's talking, but we don't hear her, possibly.
Is the volume up? Check your volume.
Somebody's talking, but we don't hear her because I think she's talking and probably hears us, but we don't hear her because we have some sort of technical glitch going on. She was there, and now she's gone. So apparently people that were listening to the show could hear her, but we couldn't hear her, which is great.
That sucks.
Well, we'll figure that out. I don't know why that happened. I don't know what's going on. The production team's trying to figure it out, but apparently people that were listening to the show could hear her. We couldn't hear her. I think she could hear us, but we couldn't hear her. That's good. She was talking apparently.
More testing.
Yeah, no shit. We need more testing.
Thanks, Angelo. You're going to bring us there.
The fuck?
Well, we could try it again, man. Antoinette, call in.
Oh, I don't know
We
if
got
people
plenty
could
of
hear
time.
her.
We got a whole night.
Maybe people couldn't hear her.
I think people did hear her. Yeah.
I don't know. People
Yeah,
on the
somebody
the
said-
chat are saying they heard her.
You know what? I faintly heard something, and then it disappeared. I want my money back, Douglas says. No refunds, man. Ringside Report. No return policy.
Well, we'll get this figured out. But Doug didn't want to come on. It was Antoinette that was trying to come on the show. And I don't know why that didn't
But guys,
work.
don't be nervous, man. If
If
you
you
want to
guys
call
really
in, once we
heard
get
her-
things going.
I don't know. Oh, she could hear us, but we can't hear her. That's great. Apparently, it's something on her side. We can't. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got to do more tests.
We need more
apparently.
testing.
I thought this shit was settled, but apparently it's not.
You tell him, Dave.
I'll be going Chris Berman again.
Go, Dave. This is...
Her mic was not on, apparently.
Oh, there you go. So let's try it again. Maybe it's not... It wasn't...
I don't know, though. Because why are people in the chat saying they could hear her? That doesn't make a lot of sense. If her mic wasn't on, no one will be able to hear her. But apparently the production team is saying there's something going on Antoinette's end. But I don't really understand that. Antoinette's saying her mic is on. some fucking confusion.
Well, at least we tried, man. It's a good start. Don't worry. Next week we'll get it better.
We'll have it for next.
Well, you're supposed to have it for the WWE. Didn't you promote that for WrestleMania or whatever it is?
Don't worry about it. I didn't promote shit.
Forget about it.
We'll see
Forget
what
about
works and what doesn't. I don't know why this isn't working, but apparently... Oh, no one's hearing her. Oh, okay. People weren't hearing her on the chat. Why the fuck were you people saying you heard her if you didn't hear her? I don't understand why people in the chat are saying, oh, we could hear her, but we couldn't hear her, and now other people are saying they couldn't hear her. I don't know what the hell's going on. We're going to test some shit. I'm done. We're done. Yeah, no one heard Antoinette. So what the fuck? Why were people saying we could hear her? What the hell's going on? Why are people fucking with me on the chat now? Yeah, no one could hear her. No one heard her. Okay. So maybe it is on her end. I don't know. Now I'm hearing all sorts of weird sound effects. Maybe something's wrong with Antoinette's mic. I don't know what's going on. We'll try to figure this shit out. It's AJ's fault. It's AJ's fault. In the end,
blame it on
AJ's
AJ.
fault. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Oh, what the fuck is that? Yeah,
That's
I hear
the
you.
production
Wow, that's cool.
team.
Who is
Oh,
that?
production team. Antoinette's
Hey,
mic.
Papa.
Yeah.
What the
Papa
fuck?
Simon.
Okay, well there you go. Well,
Introduce your dad, man.
So we've tested that, so that works, right? Are you still there? No, he's gone.
No, he's gone.
Jesus.
Well, it was.
All right, well
working. It
this
sounded
turned into
great.
a shit
Yeah,
show. What?
Yeah, production team is still here. It just
okay.
we're waiting. Yeah, just
What?
proving to you that everything's working. It's just
Oh.
on Antoinette's side there. Well, we'll
God.
get Antoinette fixed before next show.
Oh, am I on in the background or something? I'm hearing myself. Hello?
I think it's an April Fool's joke.
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear myself. There's like an echo when I'm talking
Yeah,
to
I
you.
turned. Yeah, it's because I had it on here.
Oh, we got to fix that. All right. Show's over. We'll talk to you again. We'll figure it out. She was never there to begin with. So why were people saying I could hear her? I could hear her. I don't understand.
I don't know, man.
Right?
Move on.
There's like, oh, he's talking, but you can't hear. She's gone. They were like, people were saying. Oh, that's weird. All right. We'll talk to you again later. We'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m., right after SmackDown.